What's going on, everybody? Welcome back for another Hobby Pants. I'm not alone this weekend. No, sir. I've got Eric in here with me as well. What's up, Eric?
Hey.
The doomsayer in the house to tell me how meh things are. I love that for us.
I just didn't want you to be lonely tonight, man.
Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You know, this hobby, like we talk about, is always made so much better with friends. So to have you here in the studio with me is just a great realization for that. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. We're going to have a good time painting up another little speed paint, painting up a Painboy to get it ready for a Green Tide romp tomorrow night between me and this guy in the studio with me. Doomsayer on his Chaos Space Marines and me versus the Green Tide. It's going to be a fun match, a real good time indeed. Interesting thing is, I think this is our last Saturday art stream.
Yeah.
I think this is it. So we're gonna have to make sure we make this one a special one as we say goodbye to you guys on Saturdays. We will be picking up with our new schedule. We'll be doing our battle reports that would normally take place on Mondays. We're gonna start doing those Saturday late afternoon, and then of course normal games on Sundays and Wednesdays. What that means for the art streams, a couple of things. We are going to be opening up a different time slot. Everything we're doing is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on average. And well, there's a whole lot of the world that doesn't really get included in. And there's so many people that we admire across the pond that we'd like to get some content coming out earlier. So look out for one of these streams that we do twice a week. One of them will likely become a daytime stream, something that transacts when during hours that I normally would prefer to be sleeping. We're going to call that our Wake and Make stream. It's going to be a great time. That's going to be me and Cryface. We should be able to consistently bring that every week, once a week. So the two of us in our very unique artistic approaches. So lots of definitely looking forward to that. I will say, as we get this thing started tonight, let's go ahead and shout out our sponsors. Kicking it off, of course, Transatlantis Games, bringing us Tooth and Coats paint out of the Duncan Roads Paint Academy. We've used a lot of it on stream. We're going to keep using a lot of it on stream. It's not your end-all, be-all paint because that product doesn't exist, right? But it is a fantastic line to make one of your primary workhorses 100%. You're going to see a lot of that on the table here tonight with this Painboy speed paint. We're also going to be using some of these brushes that I may or may not take care of fully to their greatest capacity, and we're going to keep them working. We're going to keep them absolutely working, using some of the cleaner to refresh, revitalize us. And I can feel this one's got a little grief in the middle. Fantastic brushes, though. And if you're not a barbarian, they'll last you a very, very long time. Check out Artist Opus for sure. Game Envy bringing us the Lucent lights over our head, the Exemplar wet palette that you've seen plenty of times on stream as well. They've got a bunch of aids for your tabletop to help with the painting process. They won't make you a better painter, but it sure will help organize you, and you know, they look pretty cool as well. What's up, Spray Gunner? Bringing us the unofficial Hobby Goblins Infinity. That's what this guy is here. Chameleon by name, that's simply the colors, and this, of course, is the combination of two colors. I don't remember the names of them. They're named after seasons, the two of them. But great company as well for all of your airbrush needs. If you're not an Infinity person, you're a Badger person, or an Iwata person, doesn't matter, right? They're going to be able to help you find the brushes that you need or the parts you need to keep any of those working smooth and on the table. And of course, our last and favorite sponsor, of course, has to be the Gob Squad. Speaking of what's going on, Johnny Zed repping in-house tonight. Hey, yo, Goblins. Hey, yo, Johnny Zed. How are you, my friend? Membership community of ours, the Gob Squad, is absolutely incredible with the support that they provide to help us growing and improve our streams and add content and refine the existing content. So we couldn't do that without you guys. We appreciate you guys oh so very much for being here and supporting us. If you'd like to support us and aren't in on the party as of yet, well, you can do so absolutely free of charge, just in a couple of ways. A great way to support us, like these videos. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Add comments to the videos on demand. All of those are great ways to appease the algorithm and therefore help get more eyes on us. That type of support is absolutely incredible as well. If you want to get with us on our deployment, right, for our members only content, or join us for our content planning meetings and kind of have a say in what we do week in and week out, well, the Gob Squad might be there for you as well. Make sure you have your settings allow for gifted memberships to be received by you. That way you can potentially even try us out before making the dive. So all of that aside, thank you guys immensely for coming out. Thank Eric for joining me in the studio tonight. But we've got a lot of work to do. So let's get at it.
All right.
Get some tunes rolling for you. Hide the sound of this compressor.
Painting a medic trash can. Interesting. Bold choice, sir.
It's where you put your needles.
So I've made a request of Hozen tonight that he use a fluorescent blue on this model somewhere because I want to use it on one of my models and I want to see how it looks. And I'd rather him mess something up of his than me mess something up of mine.
Well, that's impossible, sir. I don't mess up. I just drastically change my plans from time to time. My struggle with base adhesion on a 3D print I'm doing. I was so excited during the 3D print revolution to get my hands on a 3D printer and print literally whatever I wanted at any time. And of course, the dream way back when was, what if we could print our own 40K models? Mind blown, right? And then that revolution kind of became a household appliance, and I tried to get my hands on one and realized, God, this is a bunch of really just pain in the butt stuff to have to get through just to get the model. It'd be cheaper to buy the model, right? So I appreciate what all you 3D printers do. Shout out Big Bear 3D. However, I'm gonna let you guys deal with those headaches, and I'm gonna keep cultivating my own, like this crusty brush.
Oh, that poor thing.
Too easy?
I'm still interested in a 3D print, for sure.
We've got these Artis Opus paint purger and brush cleanser. So we're just gonna give that a nice dunk in the sauce and let that just sit on there for a minute. If Artis Opus people are watching, they might be like, no, that's a terrible idea. Why did we give that to you? But we're gonna see. It's worked fine so far.
For now.
The first thing we gotta do, of course, I typically have this done before the stream gets started. I opted not to tonight because I don't know that I've done really any small model priming on stream with my little Zenithal process. And although it's nothing groundbreaking, it's just hasn't been recorded and shared. So I figured we'll take this one from the top tonight. Eric, would you mind, sir, refreshing this cup for me and refilling this bottle for me?
Fair. What? No, you don't have it.
Doctor? Yeah,
Which one?
This one's fun. Those
These
two
two?
for me. Mm-hmm.
Here, I'm leaving these here.
That's fun.
Monster.
Yeah. Eric loves the brushes that I let just live in the bath. I'm a barbarian, folks. This is barbarian behavior, and I'm okay with it. Orcs is never defeated. They just come back painted in different colors. That's right. Well, you know, and everybody can paint like an orc. That's the trick. That's the secret the Imperium doesn't want you to know. All right, so I've been a barbarian with this airbrush as well. Still haven't done a deep clean on it. I should probably field strip it, but I don't wanna. Let's just test it for a kickback. We're not getting any bubbles, which means we've got positive airflow. So I think we're still fine. We might have to treat this airbrush to a spa day with the ultrasonic here soon, but it'll be well deserved. You done good, brush. You done real good. All right, of course, good shake to kick it off. Ironically, I'm not even printing models. I'm printing a box for my cards and counters with built-in counter dials for primary, secondary, and command points. Yeah, so like, aids, game aids. You're spending a bunch of energy to make the gameplay easier. I respect the hustle. This is way too much paint. Let's go with it. Let's go with it a little bit. We're only thinning it down a little bit, so we can always just put it right back in that primer bottle. We're not doing anything harmful to the medium at that level of dilution. Look
He
at
says
that.
he'll put it back in the primer bottle. He's just going to leave it in that cup to dry out.
You know, you could exaggerate half as much and find yourself being accurate, right? But you take it to that level that I just won't achieve. I'm bad. Oh, I'm bad for show. But I'm not that bad.
I mean, if that's what you need to tell yourself.
It is. It is. It's actually written into the contract. All right. What's all this nonsense here? What's all this nonsense?
It's your drawer, man. What'd you do?
Get out of my drawers, Eric.
So I had to be an adult this week and buy a washing machine. I was a little upset. A lot of money.
Yeah, dude, money goes quick as an adult, right?
Yeah. I was like, oh no, the washing machine broke. Open it up to see what it was. It was like the motor and the ball bearings had all decided to die at once.
So when I first moved back to Jack's, I've got this knack for finding people. Just random people that have a random skill set or offering, right? And this random person I found was like this 6'2" like lady who's got to be 65 years old. She's this giant 65-year-old lady, who her and I swear to God, her husband, I guess her husband, maybe her boyfriend, I don't know. We didn't talk in depth about it, but he is some sort of Appalachian cryptid. He's taller than she is. You know, he's real country, super, super nice folks. But he would just like, you know, pick up a washing machine one-handed and carry it in the house sort of thing. And then when he wasn't really able to help her, she started doing the same thing. So absolutely monsters. But very good priced used appliances. And like appliance repair. So
Okay.
we've got a washer and a dryer that my wife has kept going for, I mean, how long have I been back? 7 years? 8 years? I don't even know anymore. I think we're almost 8 years of being back in Jacksonville. All right, we're just getting all the black done. You see, we're kind of coming from underneath. We want to make sure that we get all in the parts where the sun don't shine. Now, see? And all the undercarriages, crevices. I believe the Australians call it the down unders. No? Is that not right? Where's Barnyard when you need
maybe.
him?
What's going on, old snapper? How you
What's
doing,
up,
man?
old snapper? Guys, sorry we missed Thursday. I'm not going to lie to you. Tonight we're on our old mics. This is something I could have done Thursday, put on these old mics and streamed, but I was quite frustrated with the performance of these mics and the inability to fix them myself. So, you know, we took the night to do some research, do some preparation for some other stuff, some announcements we've got coming soon, and of course just didn't come in here and film on Thursday night. But I wasn't going to miss tonight regardless. Even if we had to do audio through a solo cup and a piece of yarn, we were going to make it happen because we're running out of Worktober, frankly, I should say.
Can't wait for it to be over.
Nice, solid. Yeah, it can be a lot. It can be a lot to handle. Like you've got Halloween and orcs. Like this has got to be like the most joyous month of the year. Like you can only have so much joy. Like at the end of it, you kind of have to like depress yourself down with things like Thanksgiving and Christmas. So you just to reset the balance.
So you have to remember, Halloween for me happened in September. And I had to set it at work.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. You've got work trauma. Oh, look, I'm not gonna discount your work trauma. You know what I mean? But you can get through it.
I've had to live with Halloween since September.
Look at it like this. At least you're not setting up Orktober at Home Depot.
Oh.
All right. If they say like, look, we're not doing Halloween anymore. We've replaced it with Orktober. This is going to be all orc stuff everywhere. All right. Be way worse for you. I would love it, but think about that. Think about that
You
instead.
know, not sure that would be fiscally responsible of the company.
That's lame. No, I wouldn't want to lose Halloween anyway. I mean, October is the greatest month.
I don't know, man. Ever since I was a kid, I just stopped doing holidays. You know, they've just never been that big of a deal for me.
I'm not a huge holiday guy. I'm not like, yo, it's it's Indigenous Peoples Day. Roll it in, boys. You know, like I'm not like, but Christmas is often a
Well, you know,
good
like the big
opportunity to
three,
get together
right?
with some family.
Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween. Those are the big three. And I really only do stuff if like I go see my family or something.
So I like them, Christmas and Thanksgiving especially, and feel free to judge me at home, guys. But I like them because, we don't have kids. So that means that those holidays are very kind of low impact for us. We show up, we spend a little time with the family, maybe have a meal, open up a few gifts, and then we're out of there. Thanksgiving, we show up for dinner, maybe help clean up a little bit, and we're out of there. We've got a very low social battery for those sorts of holiday celebrations, me and my wife, for sure. But Halloween's great. It really is. Even if we just take it in by ourselves and, get a big bowl of candy that trick-or-treaters will never see because we'll turn our porch light off and just eat candy bars all night. It's a good holiday, man. Pumpkin pie. Come on, man. You probably don't like pumpkin pie. It's delicious.
I've liked pumpkin pie.
Okay, cool.
And then I like pumpkin pie, but there's certain pumpkin pies that I don't like. Like the one from Costco is okay. I'm sure that's the one you get.
Went a little thick on that. We're going to let that just settle in, but that is plenty of black. We're going to go ahead and start preparing our second stage color. This is going to be that German red brown you've heard us talk about.
I don't use too much. Just a little squirt is all you need.
Yeah, snip, blip. Little dribble, little drizzle. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, Eric. I was looking at numbers. We got to do some math and figure out how YouTube works. We talk about the algorithm, right? Mm-hmm. The algorithm is a mystery. I've got all kinds of video research that I've done about what the algorithm is, and the brass tacks is all of these videos, the subtext is, I think. Right? Like, there is no formula out there that'll tell you, do this, you win YouTube, right? It's all speculative and subject to change at any given time. So even like the thing that might have been the thing before might not be the thing tomorrow, and you might not catch an email telling you so, right? So it's a very difficult thing. But I've noticed over the past couple of weeks, our battle reports have seen a few less viewers, both in person and after the fact. And of course you think about is it something that we could be doing better? Of course, that's always good, healthy, a healthy mentality to have for growth, even when your channel's doing well. Not to say that ours isn't by any means, but I did notice that after we started doing this art content, the battle reports is when the views started to look like they were trending down a little bit. Like maybe YouTube isn't disseminating the video as much. It's not showing it to as many people because some of the people aren't watching the art content, and so YouTube is like, well, these people don't like this channel anymore, or what the deal on it is. We're going to keep watching it. We're not going to stop making art content regardless, but we might have to do more of it behind a membership wall. That way we can kind of isolate it from the algorithm and let it just be like value that we're adding to those people that are a part of that community. But it's been a mystery. It has been an absolute mystery. All right, this is just pushing air right now. I'd like to move this along, but I've got to wait for the paint in the airbrush cup to dry just so Eric isn't a liar.
This is why I always keep a fan kind of near me. If I need the paint to dry a little faster on my model, I just put it in front of the fan for a little bit. That doesn't always work if you're working with like certain types of paint. You could mess up the finish or potentially push, like a shade or a contrast into a bad area, and then it just pulls up. So I got to be careful with that. Man, that airbrush needs a cleaning too.
You shut up, it's beautiful.
A little dirty.
A little bit. I just
Like
I
maybe
actually
some
said
paint exploded on it?
When you stepped out to refill this water for me, I mentioned that the airbrush has definitely earned itself a nice spa day in the Sonic cleaner. right? Get treat yourself sort of day. But if you think about, we've done a lot of orc painting this month, dude. A lot. This airbrush has been a soldier, so we have to treat it. Now look at that, brand new.
Nice and soft. It's good. Good for you.
Yeah.
Now just keep
Shout out to that paint purger. That's what we're talking about here.
Just need you to keep it that way.
People got a lot of needs, man.
What's going on, Angel Soto? How you doing
Angel,
tonight?
what's going on, brother? I actually got something special for you tonight, Angel. I'm painting up a perfectly unique Painboy. It's just like all the other Painboys, but I've described it as unique, therefore it is.
Yeah, it's going to have fluorescent blue on it.
He loves that joke, Eric. That's his favorite joke. When it comes down to it, if you say, hey, what's your favorite joke? He's going to be like, damn it.
Now, is Angel related to Bobby?
No, but they could be, because they're both incredible people. No, definitely not. I can't wait to get Bobby back on stream. I think we're trying to get him in December. I think he'll be coming back down through the Florida area. And if he does, we're going to find him on the highway and, stick him in the trunk and drag him back here and make him sing for all of you. I've been working on Malpass, trying to get him up here, but that's really hard to do. That rock star life, man, it's hard to get the time to come play with your friends. So we're just going to take top down now. You see the position of the model, right? We're looking at it from an aerial view, and we're going to take our airbrush from this direction. Yeah, it's going to be a little further back so you can see the model. But we're going to keep it, between 3 to 5 inches off at varying depths, and we're going to very kind of slowly build up these browns while making sure that we don't let any of it go underneath. Now we do want this brown to get full saturation from the top facing portions of the model, right? And then of course we're going to be doing that again with further colors. I'll tilt a little bit to grab things like that neat, but I won't tilt enough to get all the way up underneath it. And we'll give you a good visual demonstration of what you want that to look like by the time it's done here in just a moment.
So, Jacob, Angel is asking, is Bobby as unique as he is?
Yes. He's just like all the other ones. He's super unique like everyone else. No, I would absolutely describe Bobby as a unique individual, for sure.
Well, first time I met Bobby was at that teams tournament down in Clearwater, where him and that entire team wore the lobster outfits.
Yeah, the lobsters, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this.
I think they took sportsmanship for that one too, or team spirit. Was it
Something.
team spirit, something like
I
that?
think they got like third too or something, because it was Art of War, then DDR, then them, I think. So they did pretty well.
All right, so you can see from the top, brown paint job. Ooh, look, pretty brown, right? When we turn it up underneath, now you've got a black paint job, right? That's basically, in a nutshell, what you want to go for. That way, when you're looking at it from the proper viewing perspective, front on, from the sides, from the perspectives you're going to see it from, you're getting a nice mix of both that brown and that black. We're going to follow those same principles using less paint and a slower application with a few more colors to get a little bit more depth into it. And then boom, we've done underpainted a model that'll help give us some value sketch for our paint stage.
So what else you got going on over that?
We're going to be following this up now with a yellow, a German dark yellow.
No white or anything?
White will be the finish.
Okay.
White will be the finish. And what basically the white, the purpose of the white obviously lights it up, but the stronger purpose of the white is that it's going to carry the true pigment of the colors we put over top of it. Right. If we want to turn something green, it can sit on top of a white pigment and fully take it. If we put it over top of, say, a beige, or if we were to go over top of the yellow, we of course get the influence of the color on the bottom on the color on the top.
You get that transparency, right? Mm-hmm. Because I think I remember when I used to work for for a paint company called PPG was that, like, in general, like, all paint is transparent.
Right.
Just to be, it
How-
has varying levels of opacity, but whatever is underneath of it will influence what's on top of it.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to build up paint quite thick to make it opaque enough to completely cover up underneath it. You don't believe me? Take something, paint something black, and then grab your favorite yellow, and then paint that black model until it's as yellow as you want it to, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna take a while.
100%. I used to do that when I was a kid. Then I learned I should probably put a different color in there.
So let's just make sure we're moving. Cool. So back to it again. From the top. Take it from the top. And we're just going to be a little bit more selective now. We are going to overwrite a fair amount of this brown, though. As you watch on, you'll see.
So what green are you thinking about for your flesh?
I mean, I think he's got to have that toxic vibe, I think.
So some plague bears maybe, or that?
I think we're going to go Mantis Warrior.
Mantis, okay.
Like we did with the Big Mech.
Okay.
Make him nice and vibrant because he's got so many metal bits. We're going to go deep on the rust. We've used rust as an accent for a lot of the other guys, but I feel like if this is their doctor, his surgical tools need to look like something out of Saw. So excessive amounts of gore, eons of rust and decay.
Eons, please, he ain't that old.
Around those.
He's an orc. He's only like 2 years old.
At least 2 eons of age. Yes. Speaking of Ian, shout out to Ian. He brought me into him and his buddy's Discord last night. Played some Hearthstone. Met a couple of nice guys. That was a good time. All right, now we're not really worried about this yellow getting full opacity. Right? We just want it to add enough depth and interest to the brown before we come back with the white.
See, we got a couple more people in here. How's everyone doing tonight? What y'all working on?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely curious to know if people at home are working on something similar.
Normally, when I'm at home watching this, I'm painting and yelling at the TV about how Jacob's doing something.
Mm-hmm. Clean that brush, damn it.
Sometimes it's that. I mean, I've kind of given up on that. It is you, to be honest. But so, like, I'm a big fan of when you use the plague bearer's flesh over all that, right? But, that's more of, like, I like kind of that sepia sort of look to it, I guess, over those browns and the yellows. Maybe a desaturation of that sort of green color. I like those colored orcs the best.
Yeah.
Although, I do have to say some of those more vibrant ones you did bring me back to, when I was like 10 and 11 and I was painting orcs for the first time.
Nice.
Because, I want to say, like, there was an old, like, orc flesh and then snotling green. And, like, that's what I used to paint my orcs.
Well, I think you probably know. I mean, 90% of my orcs are done in that flesh that you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And I figured, like, now we're doing this on a stream, we're sharing it with people, doing the same thing over and over again isn't going to be very interesting for them, but more importantly, getting caught up doing the same thing over and over again can actually, like, inhibit personal growth.
Yeah.
And so that's where all of these videos, I've been trying to take something and, like, what's something I haven't done or what's something I need to get better at doing, let's incorporate that in here somewhere.
That's
and
fair.
give an opportunity to kind of exercise,
That
muscles
artistic
that I want
muscle?
to develop. Yeah. I am curious though, what are some of the things that I do that might drive you the craziest? We talked about the brush stuff. You said you're kind of beginning to accept that I'm a barbarian.
Well, like, I'll accept it. Well, the thing I've talked about accepting is that, hey, what's going on, Dorian Bashaw?
What's up, Dorian?
Is that, like, you're going to do it, it's going to irritate me, and I should just bring maybe some of my own brushes in when I paint. Because, like, I know we both have paid for our own brushes. Like, I own my own set of Artist
Right.
Opus and everything, right? Like, I take care of those things like they are a child.
I do too. Mine are bad kids.
Clearly.
They get locked in the closet. They're eating crackers. Come on.
Like, I mean, I got a couple, like, the old GW brushes that you know, are kind of like the workhorses of, you know, like moving the texture paint, or maybe you know, like an old medium layer brush or whatever that's been used for many years. I use that to maybe selectively apply some washes and things like that. But like, I've got some nice brushes that I just do my best to take care of after every painting session. I clean them, I straighten them, make sure they're in an area where like they won't fall on their you know, onto the brush itself. But the way you do it, it does, you know, it irks me only because I take so much care of my own.
All right, coming in with white, guys, but you can see we've just taken and blended that red and that yellow together. So we still have a very nice strong point of darkness. When we turn the model upside down, still a ton of dark under there. So you can really see the shape of things. And then you've got those varying degrees. Now we're gonna just pick out the highest points and the most dramatic points, the points we wanna highlight the most and bring attention to. So obviously our face, a little on the shoulders here, little down this arm, because when you think about this arm is kind of forward in the model. It's a little bit in front of the chest. So getting a little bit of light on that, and I'm going to be careful spraying here. The musculature of the arm, I still want to protect those recesses. Still make sure we keep nice, good shadows in those recesses. Get that chin a little better here.
You know, one of the things I took away from you starting this, I didn't know the mica flakes and the metallic paints kind of chew up your brush. Mm-hmm. And you know, like, I've now started to like, here's my only metallic brushes, and here are my like brushes for everything else. And then I've started to notice, you know, like, because I have a couple new brushes, and how they're holding up a little bit better than the original ones if I was using them on metallics. Is, you know, obviously I painted a lot of knights. Iron Warriors is my CSM. So there's a lot of silver and, you know, bronze and gold in there.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to notice that. So it was a good little nugget of information. So that's largely why I watch these.
Yeah, I get to learn something new every time, man. Like, there's rarely do I ever have a conversation with somebody that I can't find some little nugget to pick up. And like sometimes it's like something like that, the mica pigment inside of brushes or inside of the paint hurting good brushes. It totally makes sense. Like, you don't have to think about it twice and do the math. You're like, oh yeah, absolutely. But it's not a thing you think about.
Yeah.
You're not sitting here thinking about, I wonder what the impact of a microscopic thing will be on the fibrous material of this. You're not thinking about it. Think bigger, my friend. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I obviously grew up painting with, apple barrel paints, Walmart, like dollar store paints.
I got some of those.
I grew up with the cheapest damn brushes you could imagine. And, I kind of learned how to get those to perform at a certain rate. And some of the things that I do with my brushes right now, are admittedly bad habits from those times, but I also know how to get the most out of something. Right? Like it might look like I don't take care of them, right? Like that they're going to go bad quickly or I'm going to ruin something. But so frequently I put it right back in working order and move right on up the road. So it's about, and I think we might have talked about this before, we're both doing maintenance. You're doing yours after I'm doing mine before. But it's both happening. You know what I mean?
That's fair. So I think the thing that got me was that one time I came over.
Oh yeah.
And I was going to paint.
I know.
And I had to clean Cryfresh's dry brushes, his Artist Opus dry brushes. They had like a year's worth of paint caked into them.
Oh, I know exactly. I know exactly what you mean. So this is going to be, we are going to come in and pick out some certain spots right now, like this cloak and this tool belt. That might wind up getting painted white. It's like a doctor's apron sort of thing. So I'm just going to come on in here now and push white on that.
It should be pea stained. He soiled himself.
Oh, of course, yeah. I think it's more all the other critters and things he's cut up that have soiled himself.
So for the longest time, I thought that model was still fine cast. It's plastic.
Yeah, this is the plastic
Yeah.
variant. Yeah, but it was fine cast for a long time.
Yeah, like the old fine cast model was very similar to that, and I think that's what threw me off. It had the weird, orc scissor hands going on, right? Mm-hmm. And I was just like, wow, I'll never get that model. It's fine cast and has that weird hand going on. That thing's gonna break.
I didn't paint this model because it was fine cast. And then my wife actually sat down to paint with us in the early days of the cave. She decided she was froggy one day, wanted to sit down and do some miniature painting. So she actually painted up the fine cast version of it. It's on her desk at the house, I'm pretty sure. And then I got the plastic one not long after that. And I was like, all right, well, I'll paint one up one day. Well, that day is today, my friends. So, Zenithal, I would say quick. It's not terribly quick, obviously, to spend that much time on a single model. If I've got 10 models here, the per model time investment to do this obviously decreases, which has a much more value. But, characters get a little extra love. That takes a little extra time very frequently. Several of the elements of this are gonna become kind of moot. We're gonna lose some of the dimensionality and have to rebuild it up, reinforcing shadows and whatnot. However, this value sketch does give us a lot of good data right now to being able to determine like the difference between like a strap or a cable or a weird muscle vein or whatever, right? To kind of see the model a little bit clearer. So value. So for this guy, we're gonna do the same thing we've done in the past. We're gonna start off, we're gonna get the skin blocked in really good. And let's grab ourselves a reference model.
Which one do you want?
Oh, I can use the standard.
All right, let's all silently judge this while he's away. Oh, it looks like a trash can with a weird hand. I mean, I'm interested to see, he said he's going to use that Mantis Warrior green. I think I'd really like to see it in Plague Bearer's flesh. But I'm curious to see where he's going to put the fluorescent blue. Maybe on the tubes? Could be interesting. Maybe give him a fluorescent blue grot on his backpack. Didn't catch that originally. He's got a little Gretchen on him. Oh, yeah. Oh, didn't even notice he has a peg leg. It's pretty cool. Oh, he wants back in his chair.
I'm back. Yeah, so this is the Mantis Warrior Green I think that we were going to play with here. I think that it's going to, and the reason I want to go with this one is the rust and the metallics are going to be very desaturated.
Yeah.
Right? They're not a big punchy orange. If we do that like an apron, like a doctor would have, even if it's soiled, it's going to be white, and then it's going to be desaturated from there with browns and like dry reds and like things like that. And so I want to make sure that we've got a spot on here, that we have some punch on here that kind of, we can contrast vibrancy alongside desaturation.
That's a good one, Dan. Fluorescent blue on the syringe.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. We've got a couple of syringes that it could be. We've got a little tube right here, right? You've got syringes on his scissor hand. So we've got options. We're going to find a place for it to go so we can see how that paint behaves. I've used it to like add vibrancy to other colors. I don't know that I've used it as a standalone, so I'm pretty curious to see how that shakes out as well. All right, well, rules are rules.
And we break them all the time.
So he's going to get the purple pants. Rules are rules, guys. Rules are rules. What do you want from me?
You want me to get a wet palette ready for you here?
Yeah, if you want to, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, let me, here's the one you've mistreated. Nice use of coins here, sir.
Yeah, those challenge coins,
Yeah.
they still have value, even outside of events.
Mine are still in their plastic wrap.
Yeah, I took mine out of the plastic to put them on there.
You got any more paper somewhere?
Yeah, it's over here in this drawer. If you want to get all up in my drawers again, Eric.
Yeah, trying to. Which drawer is it in?
Third one down, I believe. Using a little Vulpes pink here. Laying it on thick enough. We're going to add highlights with some layer paints after the fact. So thick enough is very important here. We don't want it to be kind of wispy, right? Contrast, if it's a little thin, can lay on very transparent. We want a good bit of opacity from it here. So slowly push around a kind of a fair-sized puddle until it ends where we want it to. What's up, fingers and toes? That mech looks great. Thank you. Thank you very much. If you didn't check in on that video, that was the one we did paint live. That was just last week, maybe the week prior. It was a good time. That was one that I really wasn't sure of during the ugly phase. And again, I had to kind of keep reminding yourself, hey, we just have to push through. You know, have to stay on plan, pivot if we need to. And yeah, the way it turned out, I was very happy with. I appreciate that. We've got a little run over right here, and that's fine. Another rule that we have is all of our blacks are shyish purple, right? And I do believe that that boot is going to wind up being black. I don't have a reference here since these are metal feet, right? There's no boots to talk about there. But in the knob video, we did them all black. The War Boss, I believe his got black as well. So we're going to follow that trend. And that will happen for all of the panels on here that aren't getting painted. So all of our metallics are also going to get that shyish base on them as well. And then we're going to add our metallics up from the top. Syringes, you've seen people paint the syringe effect where it kind of looks like there's water, like there's like fluid inside of it, like little bubbles. Like,
that's really cool. You should do that.
I should learn to do that one day before I die.
It's not hard. I haven't done
There's this really cool piece of flash I left on here as well. I did that as an artistic decision to not pay full attention to the assembly process. Must have been in a hurry. That's okay. It's orcs. Well, it's great to have you here, Fingers and Toes. We appreciate that. Okay, while we let that dry, why don't we just go ahead and kick that shyish in here? I don't have a whole lot of time to sit around and wait. My goal is to have this table ready before I go home tonight. Tomorrow is the game in proper how do words work? In proper procrastination fashion. I still have all the video assets to do tonight when I get home. So, but I'm looking forward to that game, Eric.
delivery.
Thank you, man.
And it's nice and flat. That's one of the other things that you do that annoys me, is you don't always make it like flat and saturated. It's probably got a little extra water on it, but you can dab that off.
I do have a wet palette that's like possibly the cheapest wet palette on the market that I've used for my entire painting journey. And not all wet palettes behave exactly the same, right? This wet palette does several things very, very well, right? But just because it does things well doesn't mean that like I'm naturally gonna be good with it. The sponge on this one, quite different. Gotcha. Sponge on this one is quite different.
Oh yeah, it's way different than the Masterson ones we used. I like the sponge in that one.
The only qualm I have with it is if you wring it out, you rip it.
Oh.
Like I can take and just manhandle that Masterson sponge,
Yeah.
right? Like it takes some serious malicious intent to break that sponge.
That's fair.
This one, I pulled the first one out, threw some water on it, got it really saturated, wrung it, and immediately just ripped in half.
I replace my Masterson one maybe about once every 6 to 9 months, just because it starts to break down.
Yeah, once it starts to lose its shape, you kind of have to.
So far I do like this one. I just kind of wish the paper was a little smaller, because it curls up into the sides.
Yeah, I could see that as well.
So it's supposed to fit it just perfectly for the most part. That's kind of hard to get a perfect fit. So that's probably why you decided to use those coins there. Is to keep
Well,
those edges
also,
down.
it wants to curl. As soon as it gets wet, that
Yeah.
moisture wants to make it roll up on itself.
Well, so that's one of the things that you're supposed to like wet the paper first, basically, right? You're not supposed to put the paper directly on the wet sponge.
What I'll typically do is put the paper on there, and then flip it over, and then put it on there again.
Yeah.
And then flip it over a third time and lay it flat. And like that's basically doing what you're saying by like making it wet first, right? But yeah, I'm doing that with the sponges, and that does seem to help for sure. All right, so we've got a couple places where we're gonna have to make color decisions, and I don't want to get too carried away and just start dumping paint and then wish I didn't. So we're gonna continue on with the things that I know are gonna be just metallics. All right, so we're gonna like be light on these syringes because there's probably juice inside those chambers we're gonna have to figure out. But we're gonna likely have to come back and paint that white anyway, so we don't have to be too careful.
So what are you dressing up for Halloween this year?
I don't know yet. I don't know. But everybody coming in for the holiday stream, which is the day before Halloween, because of the way that the calendar lines up. But I'm strongly encouraging all of the guys that'll be here Wednesday night to have costumes. I can only imagine that John is going to knock it out of the park based off his costume last year.
And Dan and Julian are going to phone it in?
We'll see. We'll see. I threatened Julian that if he doesn't bring a good costume, he's getting the Sailor Moon.
Oh, that's mean.
So, and I told him I'd be happy to shop for a costume for him. But if he doesn't want to dress like Slave Leia for stream, then, well, he better he better go get himself a costume then, huh? Because it won't even be a good costume. I'll do some super bootleg something.
I mean, Julian's in good enough shape, he could probably, knock that Sailor Moon outfit out.
He could.
Yeah.
He could.
Like, I think him and John are in the best shapes out of all of them.
I think that, I don't know, man. I think Round's a pretty good shape, dude. I float well, rather buoyant. You know what I mean?
Say that until you get in the Dead Sea and you sink like a rock.
Well, if I'm in the Dead Sea, I'm already in the wrong place. You know what I mean? Like, it won't be the sea that kills me. It'll be whatever decisions I made that led me there. That will ultimately be what'll have been responsible.
Oh, Dan's going to be faxing it in, not phoning.
Faxing it in.
Yeah.
Classic. And I really hope he comes in with like a wig that's a comb over and like some used car salesman like business cards.
That'd be pretty fun.
That'd be a great way to fax it in, Dan.
Yeah.
You can give us a ring from your car phone on your way to the studio.
Yeah, just pronounce it like you're from Boston. Just don't pronounce your R's.
No hard R on the car phone. No, Dan's creative. Dan, you could. I bet you could come up with something nice. I know last year was kind of like, what's an easy thing to do? But to be fair, it was what, our 4th or 5th stream? We weren't doing 2 a week yet. We started October 9th. I think it was like our 4th stream. So like, I know Dan's got to be way more comfortable on stream now than he was. In the beginning, it was all just flicking off cameras.
Well, Furry Man Dan is definitely probably one of the more personable people on camera. Right next to you, at least,
Oh, no, he's not as good next to me. He's mean next to me because he wants to be mean to me. But no, he's, I'm proud of all you guys, dude. I think all of you guys do an incredible job, demonstrating the values that we hope for people to see at events, right? Like, I think that, like, the sportsmanship that you guys bring to the stream through your games is incredible.
Dan says he's not playing that night.
Yeah, he's not going to dress up, though? He's not going to put on a costume as a producer? I'll put on a costume as a host. Come on, man. Come on, man.
I didn't know Julian was here. What's up?
Oh, yeah.
What's up, man?
I was like, Julian.
Hey, man.
Hey, man. All right, all this stuff is either going to be black for leather or silver, so we can purple that out as well. We're trying to identify spots that we can put pops of color and not just jump right onto it right there. Like the front of this little device in his hand will likely be nice for some color.
Thank you, Dan. I'm
maybe
sure
a
he
nice,
will
like,
appreciate that.
Hazard yellow. What, Dan say he hates your face?
No, he says he'll throw something together.
Nice. I'll check the fax machine in a bit.
Man, those things are rare these days.
I mean, why would you have it unless you were a collector? Is business still being done by fax anywhere?
Yes. If
Really?
you're a retail business, I know for a fact you probably still have fax machines.
Huh.
Because we've got like 4 of them at my store.
That's pretty crazy.
I mean, it's the same sort of thing. All of our nuclear bases are still run on floppy disks, right?
That sounds great. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that for us.
Well, it's because they're the hardest thing to hack.
I
Can't
guess
hack
if
floppy.
you're like, dude, I just hacked a floppy, people would be pretty impressed. I don't know. I don't know hacker talk.
Yeah, I don't either.
Is it just simply because it's the hardest thing to hack, or is it also because like that infrastructure would take forever to rebuild?
It's a combination of, to redo, like, say, our entire military infrastructure for
Right.
more modernization. Be really hard to redo. It'd be expensive, but also like that sort of technology basically is not compatible with current technology, and the way it is. So like, you can't hack the systems that use it using like new technology, I guess. So it's very secure, basically. It's secure because it's so outdated.
Right. They're basically like, guys, we forgot the password, so we're just going to ride this one till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, like I don't know the ins and outs of it, but like the codes to launch or whatever are on like a floppy disk. You have to manually.
Oh yeah, dude. Like they actually released a press junket or like unclassified documents, I think it was.
Yeah.
For the nuclear codes, it's left, right, up, down.
I know for like the fax machines at work, they're there for certain reasons, for like installs and stuff like that for for Home Depot, things like that. We got to fax certain type of information.
We got to write a spy thriller, Eric.
A spy thriller. that
Yeah, where
uses
somebody
fax
hacks
machines?
it with a game genie. They roll up in there with a power glove on.
So have you
Sir,
ever,
we've lost control of our satellites.
you ever watch those things on YouTube where they talk about like weird things from the past, or game related? It could be anything. But I was watching.
That's very
something-
obscure, but probably.
Yeah. Well, I was watching something about like how the game genie came about and things like that, right?
Okay.
It was just 2 guys who reverse engineered like whatever game system they originally made it for. Figured out, like they manually went through, figured out the codes by trying to just type in thousands of combinations until something happened, basically, right?
Wow.
And then they made the device, and they offered to sell it to, whoever, like, for what, Nintendo and Sega or whatever. And, one of them accepted, the other declined and tried to sue them. And so they made a deal with the one whoever, they ended up making the deal with, and then they won in court.
Well, it was Game Genie was Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, so there was a version of it that there was versions of Game Genie for the 3 systems that were out during that era.
Okay.
I think it started with one of them, and then it eventually went to the others. But it was an interesting watch. The history of it, the lawsuits, how they developed it, how it kind of got big, and then how it went under.
So there's a Tetris movie on Apple Plus. Taron Egerton, kid from Kingsman. He plays the American businessman who brokered the deal to bring Tetris over. It was doesn't sound like a very interesting film. I'm not gonna lie to you, it doesn't.
But
I'm a
you
big
watched
fan
it?
of that kid as an actor, so I watched it just because. And man, it was a good movie, dude.
Surprisingly good.
It was a good movie to think about. Like, again, it's things we don't think about, right? This was a Russian game made by a Russian developer who was living under communism, which meant the things that he made to be sold weren't his to sell, they were the country's to sell, right? And so for him to be able to broker a deal to sell the game, to even get the game in production and be sold to make money, was like some spy on spy sort of stuff.
It's crazy, man.
Nutty. Worth a watch. Definitely worth a watch.
Yeah. Well, I don't have Apple Plus, so I have enough streaming services as it is.
Yeah.
I got that Warhammer Plus stream service that I never use.
Yeah, I actually put it on the other day.
I put it on occasionally.
Scrolled through it for about 20 minutes, didn't find anything I wanted to watch, and swapped to something else.
So, like, when I do put it on, I'll watch the lore videos and maybe some of the painting videos. Other than that, it's okay. Like, I'm not going to say it's bad. It's just, like, Warhammer consumes so much of my day already.
Right.
I don't need to consume more of it.
Well, and then the things you are looking at Warhammer are more relatable directly to projects you have, like inspiration for paint projects, or like people's opinions of armies after, point reductions and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
Like, that stuff kind of dominates a lot of my focus as a, doing the stream here, right? It'd be great to know, like, what Angron's middle name is, or, some obscure story about Gilliman's weird uncle, but none of that really propels
the
us further.
Siglet?
I don't know. I'm making things up, but that's my point, right? Like, none of that stuff is going to help me paint a model better, or make me enjoy my model painting more. None of it's going to help make me a better pilot or make me enjoy the game more. And so it's all just kind of that extra icing on top. You know what I mean?
So I'll give the lore this, right? Like, there's some lore that I really like and has inspired me to, like, paint a certain model or, part of an army, right? Like, I'm playing him tomorrow. Cypher's in my list. And I'd finally decided to paint him. One, because there was a little lore video. And, I wanted to use him finally. He looks pretty good, I think. You'll get to see him in person tomorrow.
Nice.
I don't know if you actually saw the photos I posted in chat.
I don't know if I did either. I basically got out of bed and went and did that Halloween party thing today.
Right.
I did bring an old friend of mine. He was at the party today as well, and of course he's been following us online. To give you a point of reference and kind of a timestamp, kind of to date it.
Sorry, Chad, he's really bad about that.
Really bad.
I'm trying to keep him in focus.
Really bad. But he played Necromunda with me back in the early 2000s. 2001, 2002.
Old Necromunda was pretty fun.
I loved old Necromunda.
I'm sure new Necromunda is fun. I just 40K consumes so much of my time. I just haven't had the ability.
Yeah, frankly, I don't want to learn a new game right now.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like, I just don't want to learn a new game. Skirmish style games is why I fell in love with tabletop. Necromunda that was my gateway into Warhammer in general, right? And so I naturally am inclined to want to play skirmish games. I did little competitive hero clicks. That's a skirmish game.
You're right, Dorian Bashaw. Lord of Deceit is a good rule. Cypher has that. Also, he might have Infiltrate. I'll have to look at that. So I might have an Infiltrator.
Yeah, I just looked at the units in your list, and I don't really know much about them.
You don't know much about anything that's not an orc. It's okay.
Why would I?
Exactly.
I mean, do you spend your time researching second best? I guess so, if you know. Yes.
Chat, I'm sorry you may not get to see him tomorrow. He may have an accident after tonight.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm pretty accident prone, guys.
Yeah.
So he's probably right.
No, there was like a month or two ago, you just fell down and threw your back out for a month.
Well, it wasn't a month or two ago, because that means it could still be there now, and it's
Yeah.
not.
Well, when was that?
But it was some time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even really a fall down. I really, truly blame you. You go back to watch the episode. I caught a dice that was bound to be a floor dice. I caught it like a ninja assassin. It was an amazing catch. It was so good, in fact, that it injured me. Right? It just, to move that fast and get to the angle I needed to snatch that dice out of the air, absolutely just tweaked something.
Yeah,
And it could have been any other thing, but as far as I'm concerned, it was my John Wick moment, avoiding the floor dice punishment, because that just makes it.
I've done that a few times at tournaments where like I caught a dice like mid-fly or whatever.
And you tweak it. You're like,
And
oh,
I'm like, oh,
shouldn't
my
have done
groin.
that." Uh-huh. Well, I don't catch with my nuts anymore. But yeah,
I don't either, but you know, like I stretched out and, you know, I stopped myself from hitting the ground by
what did he
swinging
say?
my leg out, and you pull a muscle in the wrong area and you're like, should have just lost that dice. Would have been okay. Because when you're at these big events, if a dice goes flying, you may not be finding it. It's going under a table, you know, 4 or 5 tables down, it's going to get kicked by a couple people. It's going to end up on the other side of the event hall.
I think we're going to do, like we talked about, color on the front, but we're going to bust this trim in here. Bust some trim.
Business in the front, party in the back.
You got it.
So one of the things I've been trying to work on, because as you've seen some of the things that I've done, I'm starting to sculpt a little bit more. I've been
Nice.
watching a lot of sculpting stuff, and the next couple of weeks, I'm going to try, you know, some more green stuff, milliput sort of work,
Dude, that's awesome.
and I want to improve that skill because that's, you know, obviously I can, you know, you're never done improving your skills painting or anything, right?
Right. Very true.
But I want to be able to kind of kit bash and convert, and that's one of the big tools that you could have that could really ease some of the conversions to make them more believable and things like that.
And not to be funny, but also to be funny, right? Very necessary skill sets to have if you plan to dethrone me as the war boss. Right? Chaos and orcs both give great, amazing opportunities to sculpt. I will say the need for sculpting is greater in chaos, right? You know, a lot of, like, we can drop some super glue in a bag and shake it up and be like, look, it's a, and then give it a weird name, and all of a sudden it's got a data sheet in the game somewhere, right? For you, most of your kit bashing for chaos is going to lean heavily on your sculptural capabilities. So I think that's awesome kind of goal for you for sure.
Well, you know, you saw I started it when I did that Chaos Lord with the fur. You know, I researched like how to do fur, and a lot of people, you know, it's a needle and a little knife, and you just try to cut it and shape it. But I
Right.
did the little sausages rolled together. I think it turned out well. I think, you know, I could refine that.
Yeah.
The flesh sculpting, that's something I want to refine, and, you know,
Dude, I'm totally here for it. I'm totally excited to see.
and try to
that
do some
journey for you,
sharper
man.
details. I need to work with milliput a little bit more for sure. And I want to get that milliput fine, the white milliput, that's not the yellow.
Remind me, I'll bring it in. I'll also bring you some epoxy sculpt to play with, which is fine art sculptors.
Is that the stuff that I've seen Squidmar use when he sculpted those fat giants?
Possibly. I don't know that I saw that video. But it's got fine art sculptors are going to use like a green stuff equivalent as a foundation, a milliput as the facade, and then something like epoxy sculpt for all the fine details. So like if they want to do hair follicles, if they want to do like little like tiny details, you do that with epoxy sculpt. So it'll be a good thing to add to your toolbox, and then you can come back and teach me some things about it.
I was watching, what is it, Trovian, I think?
Trovarian.
Trovarian, there you go. I don't know when the video was released. I don't know if it was recent.
Learn how to learn how to
okay.
kit bash like a boss or something.
Yeah. So, like,
haven't watched the videos, but I did see it was out.
He mentioned like the tools to use, right? And like he said, the best tools are the ones you're gonna hand make yourself for this.
It makes sense.
So like I'm gonna hand make some of those tools, like the little tiny blade that you filed down from like a brass rod, basically, and like a needle point instead of like the normal sculpting tools. But then
Right.
you know you still want to use like the hard and medium
you
silicone
do.
tip tools.
Say that slower, Eric.
Hard and medium silicone tipped tools.
Sorry, Dan.
Wow.
Sorry, Dan.
So yeah, I'd like to experiment with that and play around a bit. Especially because I got
I need you
another,
to get in here and put your eyes on something for me in a second, Eric.
Yeah.
I need to find out if this has a window, this needle he's working on here. Do you think it has a window to see the fluid inside, or is it a solid tube?
hand it over.
I'm going to step out of your way, stretch the back. You know how we do.
Okay. That's him secretly farting in the corner, guys.
Take that, Eric's pillow.
Which one? You talking about this one on the shoulder here?
The Gretchen.
Oh, the one in the Gretchen?
The one the Gretchen's holding. I think it's just a steel tube.
It's a steel tube. They did not delineate any sort of separation in it, and where there might be, it's covered by his hand, fingers, and ear, and then body. I think it very well could be, to be honest, because where you would have the meeting of the metal and the glass, it's covered completely by the Gretchen, right? So it could be either or. I don't know if it would really matter at the end of the day. Could be another fluorescent.
Kind of where I was at with it. Is like I could go either way on it.
Yeah.
Since I can go either way on it, we're going to just go solid with it. We've got enough other little spots to put that kind of detail in, so we're just going to make that steel. What I didn't want is to paint it steel and then be like, oh, well, you can clearly see that should have been a window.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to try and paint it as a window and have it not convey and just look weird.
Oh, so that's one of the other things I don't remember what video I watched, but painting liquids in like in a tube or glass or whatever.
Uh-huh.
You know, I haven't done the step where I like add bubbles or whatever, but I did that as a car vampire guy or whatever. The one that was the controversial Golden Demon when the inverted.
Right.
That model in particular.
God, that was such a cool entry too, man.
He got a, he's got like a vial on the back, and I painted it like it had blood in it, but like half empty.
Oh, that's cool.
And like because it's at an angle on him, so I painted the
blood at
liquid
the
as
angles
it-
that would
yeah.
align with it. Yeah.
So, and you know, having to highlight those two areas separately, and then put like the warmth of the blood on the internal, basically, was kind of weird. It's not. I wouldn't say it's for at least me. It's not. It wasn't easy at
Right.
first because you know I'm going like the opposite of how I would normally like paint colors.
Yeah, I don't see it as being easy at all. Like it's. So I'm good at taking pigmentation and adding color to things to tell a story. I'm not good at taking that same pigmentation. I'm looking at. And like freehanding some stuff to tell that story. Like I can accentuate details that are here. I am pretty weak at that freehand kind of expression though. So that's why on that War Boss I try to do that kind of the linen vest.
Right.
Just to like force myself to like exercise, like execute some brush control, and you know, it's good opportunities to learn.
That's also another muscle I want to work on. Is you know I can freehand my stripes pretty decently, but you know like actual like freehand like
A skull or stuff. Well, you know, all that practice starts on a piece of paper.
yeah.
Right, piece of paper, piece of cardstock, just a little flat something that you can, you know, just throw away because that's where you start actually delving into more of the legit artistic approach and not just kind of a paint by numbers for
I've
lack
seen
of a
people
better way to
like take a fine tip pencil and draw their thing on like say the shoulder pad or whatever, and then paint over that.
So when I do hand paint checkers, which isn't frequently, but that's how I hand paint checkers, is I take a pencil to draw it in, and then I paint the individual squares.
So we got some more people in chat tonight. How you guys doing? Hopefully you're enjoying this trash can with legs being painted, because that's how I feel about orcs. But Jacob loves them. How you guys doing?
To preface it, guys, he's a Chaos Knight player who literally just got voted off the channel.
No, I didn't.
Oh, too soon? Too soon?
I wasn't the one playing. Dan was like, "I'll play Chaos Knights."
I wasn't saying
man.
you got voted off the channel.
Okay.
No, you're here for you're here for keeps.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
those Chaos Knights, we had to ask them to stay home.
No, you did that on purpose.
Yeah, I secretly infiltrated all of Warhammer to make sure everybody voted for orcs in a completely benign.
I'm pretty sure you were like edging people on to vote for orcs.
Go back, watch the video. Go back, watch the video.
Yeah.
It was literally 100% for the first hour, and then you jumped on, and we knew that you were on before you said something because the first vote for Chaos Knight's winning. We made the joke. on the stream.
I was
And
awake
then-
for that.
And then we're like, you better call Natalie, and then Natalie jumps on and is like, oh, here's a second vote for Chaos Knights.
Yeah, I get that. I get
That's
that.
not me, bro. That's
Yeah.
not me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's all right. It's all right. It's cool.
Bonsoir.
What's going on? I don't know how to pronounce that correctly.
Give it a shot, Eric.
Goutone? I don't know.
I mean, I would just be guessing too. But is that French?
Possibly.
I think it's French. Shout out. Thank you so much for tuning in. Where are you watching from?
Comment allez-vous? That's the only thing I know in French.
And definitely feel free to like spell it out phonetically for us that don't know your name. We'd love to pronounce it right if we have the data to support it. Getting into Mantis Warriors Green, we can go ahead and start blocking in the flesh. This is all really, really crude stuff we're doing right here, guys. All of the magic is going to happen once we start layer painting. But this is kind of our path into the ugly face.
Dorian, you
And then-
take that back.
And then the layer paint, you can look at kind of as the path out of the ugly face. So a little Mantis Warriors Green. Again, thick enough on the brush that we get nice coverage. This looks like it might be a little diluted, so likely going to be a second pass. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time worrying too much about how it sets right now. This will be a completely different model by the time all of this dries down. We started painting a Painboy and it turned into an assault intercessor.
So Dorian over here is teasing me saying knights are meant to be kit bash material for orcs.
Yeah, kit bash fodder, 100%. That's lore. That's actually, it's always been canon.
Disappointed in you, Dorian. Disappointed.
I'm just saying that when they released Knights,
Yeah.
you probably had as many orc players that were excited about their future orc unit that they were going to make out of it.
That was also back
as
when
you had-
like GW really supported orcs kit bashing weird things.
Like having like the looted truck sort of
Yeah,
profile or whatever.
Yeah, like that was back when like there was a profile in a White Dwarf for a looted like Lehman Russ and stuff like that. That was back when they were fun. Now they're like, can't do that anymore. Well, you can still do it. Don't get me wrong. It's just not in a competitive
it's
environment.
really,
a
yeah,
little weird.
it's just the artistic chase that it gives
Yeah.
you any kind of value in, which I'm fine with. I mean, I do. The looted wagon days were kind of cool. Don't get me wrong. They go, you got a Lehman Russ? I got a Lehman Russ. You know, I definitely can appreciate those days for sure. But you know, the game does have to have some chance at being balanced. It's some turn.
So did we pronounce it right?
I'm sure we didn't.
Well, he is confirming he is French.
Excellent. That's my favorite kind of toast. Yeah, it's funny because French toast isn't French, right? I believe
know.
they can clarify for us, but I'm pretty sure French toast was invented by the French people to use stale bread because it was all they had on hand to dress up stale bread to feed the soldiers that were there. I believe that that's at least close to where French toast came from, but it is not a product of the French people. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
Well, glad to have you here. I think you're our first French viewer. So
I mean,
congratulations.
at least it's popped in and said hello to us. I do
Yes.
know our metrics. We've got a couple of people that do tune in from your part of the world from time to time.
Oh, okay.
It was one of those. I was like, when I was looking at our analytics and seeing like, hey, where are people watching from? You know, France actually had a decent footprint.
Well, he's saying he likes our videos.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, we're that's our goal, is to put out content that you guys enjoy. We are fortunate in the fact that we're going to enjoy it one way or the other, right? Because we're, you know, spending time doing something we love.
but have something that's also enjoyable for you guys to come along with us, but makes it so much better.
You know, one of these days, I think we need to get over to Europe to possibly do the WTC thing if we're ever so cool to be there. Maybe at least in the singles, maybe not in the
That'd be
big team
cool.
one.
I mean, that'd be cool for sure. But I'd
Or
also like to get out there for things like, look, I had an offer to go to Monte San Sabino this year. You know, and if I'd been able to do it, if I'd been able to make it all make sense and work out, I'd have been able to hang out with some of the most influential painters in miniature painting for a super elite painting contest. I actually would have been, you know, helping judge to some capacity. You know, that was, of course, Tooth and Coats making that offer for me. That's the type of stuff I'm really excited for in the art space. You know, the one thing, the U.S. doesn't do the art part of the game very well yet. We've got a couple places you can go do the Golden Demon entries and whatnot. But when you look at like some of the events that happen around the world, there's so much more art celebration outside of the U.S.
Essen Spiel?
That's a big one. Like 150,000 people show up to that, dude.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous. I'd have to take like 2 weeks off of work just to go there and decompress.
150,000 people.
Gibraltar.
All right.
Interesting.
We've-
Yeah, what is that? I've seen that on somewhere. What is it, like War for Gibraltar or something like that?
What's that?
There's a big event in like Gibraltar.
Yeah, the SNN Games.
Yeah, there you go.
I think that's them.
Maybe? I honestly don't remember. I've seen some of it before, like live streamed. I've seen the events on BCP. Pretty big events, some of them. I think they've done some teams, singles, things like that.
Okay, we're gonna do a traditional grot on the back. And by that I mean, of course,
Pink?
my traditions. No, pink are specifically for Zodgrot.
I mean, what if Zodgrod loaned him out?
He wouldn't loan him out.
It could be an interesting story.
He wouldn't loan him out. That's part of his drip.
Okay, yeah. It is them. Dorian is confirming. SNL Gaming.
Yeah.
Or SN Gaming. There we go. Man, this war boss is really vibrant over here. Oh, you didn't do his fingernails. I'm gonna need you to fix
Which
that
one? The
tonight.
one at the linen. The one at the linen vest.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some strong colors happening in it.
Yeah.
Bring him on over.
Yeah. You have to paint his fingernails tonight.
Eh,
Yep.
You want me to stand up, let you paint his fingernails?
I mean, when you're done there, I can slap some, some nail polish on him for you.
Yeah, he's got some real vibrancy for sure. For sure.
These are all those knobs you painted this week?
And I got to come back and add little bits of weathering to them. They're still very, very vibrant compared to everything else.
Right.
And that's just going to be a pigment powder, just to grime them down, just a scotch, just a sketch.
Just a scotch?
Okay. Ugly phase continues.
Just make sure we've got all the pigment in the coverage where we want it. This can all be pretty loose. Like I said, we've got a layer paint stage after this that's going to come in and fill a lot of these gaps for us.
Dorian is saying they have a big art focus in Gibraltar.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Yeah, like I said, that a big reason I'd like to get these streams, some daytime streams going out there, is again, you know, I think people in other parts of the world, they might not take art as seriously at an event, right? Like LGT, not giving out a bunch of art scores. Yeah. They don't really care about that. But the expectation that you're going to bring something painted is greater.
right? And then all of the things that are very specific, not like a branch of competitive 40K, right? But its own thing, right? That's kind of how I see art being received elsewhere.
That's fine. Hey, so did you see that leaked Eldar model that then got unleaked?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
Here's a little
inspiring.
long for my taste. Nah, it looks pretty good, dude.
No, it was kind of inspiring. Like, I'm excited for that. And I think I might be back on my Eldar kick.
Okay.
So I might actually start getting some of my stuff painted and put together.
Dude, I'd love to see it.
Maybe
I
I'll
would
learn how to play
love
him a
to
little bit
see
better.
it, my friend.
You know, right after I won that one game finally against John. Barely. By the
Defeated
skin
the
of my
villain.
Eldar teeth.
Finally defeated the villain.
I can't tell you guys how many times I've actually played John and just never won, even when it looked like I was going to win.
So if we did a Gabo RTT, what army would you play? Knights, or would you bring Chaos Boys? We would limit everybody to one faction, but I think that basically everybody else that's playing would have another primary faction that they would want to play, leaving Chaos Knights or Chaos available.
It would be a toss-up probably, depending on the state of my Eldar when we do it.
You starting to enjoy playing them?
Yeah, I did not enjoy playing them. It's just, trying to flex it into having more of the, what I would call the correct stuff. Like,
Right.
I was early on, right? Like, that one game I played against Julian, I just kind of slapped it together, and it turned out to be really good, like a hard counter to what he had. They obviously, I just, smeared him off my boot, basically, right?
Right. Just to put it kindly, right?
Yeah. I love you, Julian.
Eric should also tell you he's the most humble person ever. Tell him, Eric.
And then, I tried to make, a decent list for what we had, and then, I think I just got, smacked around, and then, I don't know. I just kept losing. Not good lists. I'm just trying to learn how to play Eldar. They don't play anything like Knights.
Thank God.
So, trying to remember the fact that my guys are very fragile most of the time. And, a stiff breeze will kill a 5-man unit of 1 wound T3 models that only have a 5-up save. That are somehow, 120 points. So, but I do enjoy the Eldar. Aesthetically, I like most of their models. And some of the new stuff that they're coming out with is definitely pretty hot.
I think that's my big disconnect with them is I'm not a fan of their aesthetic. But it's not bad. I don't look at models and be like, oh my God, that is so ugly, right? Matter of fact, I don't think those models exist in 40K for me. I think that there's something cool.
Cotiez? He's ugly.
I mean, I'm kind of into dudes who wear their pants up to their nipples. I don't know about you, but yeah, no, he's bad.
Okay, Grandpa.
That is a bad model for sure. I'll
I don't dislike it that
I'll
much.
concede that point.
I think if they had dialed it, the oversized armor down a bit, it would have been a cool enough model. But it just feels like he's a tiny man in a big suit of armor.
Let's slap some of this Doomfire magenta, because I don't want to go red. I feel like red would be a little bit boring. And we're going to just add this to this claw. There's kind of a sheath around the base of it here.
A metal plate, so to speak.
So we're just going to drop some nice bright colorage up onto there. And we're going a little bit over, hitting a couple of things that aren't going to stay that color, but that's future Jacob's problem.
So he means Jacob 30 minutes from now. Yeah, the grotesque models are pretty cool. I like them. I've never painted one. Maybe? I might have. I know I did a Dark Elder commission many years ago. I think I painted most of the units in the army for it.
Okay, I like all of that enough. All right, I do need to get down in hell.
Bow, chicka, wow, wow.
And a lot of this, I'm just picking colors and slapping them in, buying time, waiting for all of the other stuff to dry so we can start doing some layer paints.
So this is kind of like a slap chop, but orc. So orc chop. in October.
And then Eric, if you will do me a favor, I just know that there's some stuff on the shelf over there that these guys haven't seen of yours. And since we have all of your Chaos Knights in here right now, right? Or at least the bulk of them.
Yeah.
Why don't you grab out a couple of key items so we can make sure that they can see a little bit more.
Of what they voted against?
Yeah, but that's like, that won't matter. They made the right call and they know it. But no, I'd like them to see some of your handiwork, dude. You're a very talented painter, and I like to brag about having talented friends. So, take that. Yeah, Eric only jumps on stream with me because he knows I'll be nice to him here.
That's not true.
I know. He says, you're not nice to me here.
You should see him when the cameras are off.
Get back in there. Get back in the barrel.
Back in the dungeon. Brrr.
Puts the lotion on its skin, or it plays the orcs again.
I don't mind playing orcs.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Clearly. All right, yeah, that'll be a nice little vibrance ad right there. I can dig that. All right, and then we're gonna let this dry and do a little show and tell. Dude, this guy's gonna paint up pretty easily. He's got a lot of like little things, but not a lot of like.
Did you break something off of it already?
It's a part of the process, man. Trust the process.
Yeah. The process of trusting. Oh, that's metal.
It is.
Yeah. There we go. So we'll start with this fellow, carnivore that I converted a little while back. We call him the Berserk Fury. See, good center there from the top. So I did a few things on him. He is magnetized.
I can't tell if the zoom was or the focus, so just have a look at the focus and adjust it.
Right about there looks good. I repositioned him, cut up the leg a little bit, the toes, sculpted some green stuff to, show the expanding, whatever that would be, mechanical piece. Did this guy a couple years ago. A little bit of conversion with a tail made from a Mauler Fiend, one of the whips. One of the few guys that still has his bird attached. Most of those have since broken off and been replaced by spikes. I had a lot of fun with this model, and this was one of my first experiments with adding a little bit more to my bases with my knights. They all just used to be the cracked Martian Iron Earth stuff.
And yeah, all the work you've done on that basing really just adds a ton of depth to the models for sure. It's a great example of how you can use the basing, the one thing you get to be 100% creative on and express yourself through, to add an indescribable amount of value to an experience on the model.
So one of the things I talk about, these guys, I made fun of Jacob for not doing it, but it's painting certain toe parts, right? A lot of people don't, paint this little section right here, or if you're working with a knight that has the standard toes, not the talon toes, they don't paint the armor over it. Got a little bit of an example of that over here. But yeah, no, so this was a fun model. I always, especially for my big knights, I always try to do something cool with their heads. This was a 9th edition build. He was going to be a character knight. That doesn't exist for War Dogs anymore, unless it's a stalker. But then here is the most recent one I've done. A Lancer. Let's see, play with that a little bit. I don't know which way we're going here. There we go.
And this one, you'll be able to see a lot more of that freehanding or the sculptural exploits too.
So I did sculpt the head on this guy. Oh, we're just going to take that off because I don't trust it. It's on there pretty well. All right, we'll just leave it on there. We'll trust it and play with fire. Yeah, sculpted the head. You know, the base of the standard Lancer, I used like the back of it, shaved it down. Combination of green stuff and milliput, and some ball bearings for the eyes, and then rolling little sausages. Horns on the side were from a zombie dragon, I think. Yeah, a zombie dragon. You might recognize these if you have the tentacle knight. I got a bunch of extra pieces for those, turned those into horns. And it was just a lot of fun. And it was my first attempt at kind of doing some crackling energy. You know, didn't turn out half bad, and I don't dislike it. Try to add a little chain, spikes to it, right? Try to figure out how I was going to chain bone to the shield. So it turned out okay, I think. And this has been one of my more favorite nights to do, and honestly, I'm excited to eventually get myself a, what is it, an Acreon and one of the big double chain cannon, and get those painted up for my Chaos Knights at some point.
I mean, them putting that into a plastic kit was a good move.
Oh, 100%. I can't. So I have an Atropus at home, the forge-rolled resin one, painted in one of my older black and red styles. But I would like to see him in plastic because that thing is heavy, and I'm always worried about it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for showing those off, eh?
Yeah. Here, you can have your metal sheet back.
Oh, I don't need it.
Well, it's over here now.
Cool. All right, real kind of chunky in there. That's fine. That's really what we want from it, more or less. I do believe that what I'd like to do is I'd like to push a little bit of blue into the shadows before we start highlighting the green. So we're going to take a touch of this Croxagore scales. And I mean just a touch. We don't need much of this one. Take just one of these big sloppy junk brushes. The ones that live in the water. Eric's favorite brushes, I might add.
Those poor bastard brushes.
And you'll notice none of the Artis Opus live in the water, guys. We're not that egregious.
He is. That was the first time I walked in here. There was an Artis Opus brush
You're letting out my secrets.
face down in that water.
If they learn all my secrets, they'll be able to defeat me. We're just going to grab a couple of nice size drops here like this.
Thank you, Johnny. I took some time to sculpt that.
We're going to thin it down really nice. Yeah, no, it's pretty incredible work, dude. Pretty incredible work. I definitely admire your work with a brush, for sure. It's one of those areas that, you know, where I need the most, improvement. That's why it's awful nice to have someone in the circle who's good at a thing that you can turn to and be like, hey, how do I make this not suck?
Well, so that's kind of where Jacob and I are the opposites, right? Like, I'm pretty good with a brush, awful with an airbrush. He's pretty good with an airbrush. He's not awful with a brush, though. Could be better, but he is practicing for sure.
All right, let's make sure that blue's coming out. We want it coming out nice and soft. We're just going to use this to add a richness to the green in the shadowed areas. So up under those armpits, holding the model upside down, hitting the bottoms of those muscles. That way where the green is kind of overlapping the parts that would have been the most black, we're giving more color to it. Rather than it having be just like a murky green, let that shift from a green into a blue before finally hitting that black. It'll make it look a little bit more natural and give us a little bit more punch as well.
So I see we got some more people watching tonight. Welcome in, guys and gals.
Great to see everybody. Definitely make sure you sound off. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know what project you're working on.
And if you haven't already, go and hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on whatever we may be doing in the future.
All right, just that little bit of blue. I said I think that'll add Just a little bit of interest to it.
What's up, Wraith Mace? We are the Hammer.
With Mace. Hammer time, baby.
All right, Dorian. We'll see you later, man. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, great to see you, Dorian.
You have a good night, bro.
We'll see you later this week.
See you tomorrow as I'm kicking the crap out of Jacob, hopefully.
Yeah, likely.
You know what? I need to not talk like that because every time I get boastful about stuff, I lose.
I mean, well, your chances are very good, though, right? You're a much more seasoned player. You've been getting reps through 10th edition. I'm only playing orcs, you know what I mean? No big deal.
Yeah, you're right, Wraith. The orcs are coming along nice, for sure. Jacob has spent Orktober painting nothing but orcs and catching up on his backlog.
It's
because
been
he's
glorious. And then we're gonna, get out of October, roll into November. And I can do this all year.
lazy. Okay, Dad.
January, February,
Don't you dare associate my birth month with orcs.
March. I'm telling you, I'll take every month and turn it into an orc month. Give me, don't test me.
No.
Let's go ahead and do this skin. Go ahead and just clear that out of the airbrush real quick, so it's not sitting there. Nice little rinse and a sploosh.
Sploosh?
Little sploosh.
Have you used that stuff called Noosh yet? Have you tried that?
I've got some at the studio. Our good friend Jason Langer left some for me to try out. It looks pretty interesting, but I haven't actually put
It's
my
like
hands on
an
it.
acrylic oil wash, basically, right? It's kind of how it functions, I think.
Kinda.
Okay.
Kinda. I don't understand all the chemistry on it, so like I can't really describe it too well, but it behaves a whole lot. Its intended use is very similar to an oil wash. Okay, so let's start pulling out some colors.
Well, if we didn't have a stream, Wraith Mace, I'm sure Jacob would love to join you on some Space Marine too.
Possibly. I have so much editing to do tonight though, because I've
Sunday. We have,
slacked off with everything. Yeah, I've got to get all of tomorrow's assets going. Oh, Sunday?
yeah, Sunday. EST 9 p.m. We'll be streaming.
Oh, I can't. Sunday, dude. We stream 9 p.m. Guys, go check out Wraith Mace, though. Wraith Mace is, YouTube creator on, content creator on YouTube here. He does Joy Toys. So there's a lot of, like, if you're considering getting a Joy Toy for yourself, they're super cool. You can actually see a lot of them in person right there on his channel. He also streams some other video games as well. So go check him out. Dear friend of the channel. All right, that's a trash brush. I don't want to use a trash brush for this. I want to use Old Faithful.
Got Chaos Rooster shouting "Wah" in chat.
Oh, well, wall to you too, sir.
You know, why don't we have a "Wah" emote?
A wah emote?
Yeah.
Probably to make room for, somebody's face or something.
Okay.
Our emotes that we can put online are directly tied to the number of members that we need, or that we have. So like every so many members, we get to add another emote. So that's why we don't have all the faction icons on there either.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, matter of fact, I believe like to get your face added on there, we had to get to a breakpoint, if I remember correctly. It was a while ago.
I'll go check it out when we're done here, Wraith Mace. See what's going on.
Yeah, and I don't know how well you guys can see what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to take and add in what is effectively going to be the mid-tone color, but I'm doing so with a bunch of little teeny tiny lines. That way we're going to get some texture in here, and it's not just blots of paint that are changing the color. Think about like the way that muscle fibers run, and we're trying to kind of follow the directions that they would be going with these little tiny lines. Little bits of stippling. Just trying to really get, again, some nice textures in here.
Yeah, I want to check out that Tamiya brush. I think I might get one.
Which one?
That Tamiya brush you're using?
I think you should try it out, for sure.
Yeah.
If I had a brand new one in hand, I would give it to you to try it out, because I believe that you'll like
get
it.
one on Amazon. Probably not too much.
No, they're a fairly affordable brush. And it's one of those that, like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this brush is any better than any other brushes.
No, it looks like it has a good point, and I've been looking for something to keep a sharp point. And given the fact that you're a monster when it comes to your brushes, and that thing is still in pretty decent shape.
Yeah. This thing is built like a truck for sure.
I got to give it to Tamiya. I like them. I like a lot of their
They've
products.
been in the
that I've
game a long, long time, dude.
Yeah.
Since historicals. And historicals, you know, has been going on a lot longer than our little niche hobby for sure.
You know what would be a fun project one day?
What's that?
Paint a Gundam on stream.
Did I tell you about what I want to do with you and Cryface?
No. Or are we talking about that, like, I paint half of something, he paints the other half?
Yeah, that each person is like, you know, like I'd kick it off.
Yeah, I remember, we were talking about that the other day.
Yeah, I put an hour into the project, hand it off to you, you put an hour into the project, Cryface has an hour to finish it.
Yeah, where he just dials in the face.
Yeah, the fine details or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be a cool collective project that, like, basically trains the pivot, right? Because, I mean, we don't have an opportunity to game plan everything that we're going to do on the model, nor do we have time to execute that entire game plan. You know, so that means everybody's got to do their own planning kind of on the go. I think it sounds cool. And we're going to keep that Croxagore on hand, because that Croxagore is going to be what we use to glaze underneath once all of our fleshy bits are done. And you want the paint loose enough that it'll move off the brush, but not so loose that it'll puddle.
It's a fine balance between the two.
That it is, my friend.
Because I was actually trying to do that earlier today. So I'm painting an avatar at home. And instead of, glossing it up and dropping white ink into the cracks, because I don't have any at home, I'm having to paint it all in. There's a few moments where it was a little too loose, and that white paint got everywhere. Not everywhere, but on areas that I didn't want it on.
Yeah, right in the nethers.
So that's something I also, like, I've used the oil paints with you, when we did some of those Banshees.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely want to use them a little bit more in certain applications, especially for, like, the glow effects, things like that. Or when I got to get into, the volcanic cracks on an avatar.
Mm-hmm.
Like, having to manually paint that stuff in sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to just, give it a gloss coat with an airbrush and then load up some oil paint on it, let the capillary action pull it in, then let it dry, then wipe off the excess with some, some white spirits. Seems so much more simpler.
And does everybody in chat understand what he means when he says capillary action?
Well, if you don't, it's generally, actually, I know what it is, but I don't know how to describe the function.
All right, so capillary action references the surface tension.
There you go.
Right, and I want you to think about surface tension as a rope. All right, if the rope is loose, it's got waves and waggles and coils and all kinds of stuff to it. If the rope is tight, it's just a straight line. And I want you to think about that in context to the surface of your model. All right, your matte coat is a loose rope. It's got a bunch of waggles in it. Right, that's what causes to diffract the light and change the way it interacts with the surface.
And make it matte, basically, right?
Your gloss coat is a tight rope. There's no curves to it. Right? It's completely taut, completely straight. That's a gloss coat. Right? The capillary action, I want you to think about like the Jamaican bobsled team, right? It's the luge, right? The capillary action is the movement of liquid across a surface that has zero resistance. Right? Because it's completely smooth, it's created a channel, and that fluid, we know that fluid, being not a solid, wants to move. And if the container can hold it in place, then it will stay still. However, if there is no container to hold it in place, it's going to move. That's what capillary action is for your model. So putting a gloss coat on it, kind of, what's a word that wouldn't be bad?
Makes it nice and smooth, and
I mean, you're
it
effectively
reduces the friction. And
lubricating the area,
Yeah.
right?
So a good example of this that I've seen is when I've seen people paint up their Gundam models, drop in their oil paint into the panel lines, and it just pulls it across through multiple panel lines that connect. It works pretty well on glossy plastic. If you put a gloss coat over a model, it could do the same thing for you. That's definitely something I want to try out on a few more things.
Hell yeah.
And then because it's oil and when it dries, you can clean it up with some mineral spirits or white spirits. Same difference, I think.
Yeah. Same
And
thing.
just a little Q-tip or a makeup brush, I think is the general preferable one, because it might not. Because when you use a Q-tip, you risk having some fibers left over if it.
Or
frays
having
out.
micro abrasions that can
Yeah.
interfere with the surface. Yeah.
But the little foam, the foam makeup brushes do a pretty good job at cleaning it up. And you can get them where they're kind of angled and they have little sharp points to get certain areas if you need them. And they're cheap as chips. I know you gave me some when I did that work with you. Mm-hmm. But I ordered a bag and got 1,000 of them for
Right.
$5 or what. I was like, oh, I didn't know it was this many.
Yep.
And I'm and I haven't done anything oil related since. I haven't got a whole bottle of the low VOC mineral spirits at home in my room now with all my paint stuff.
All right, let's see if we can kind of show you what we're cooking with here. We talk about all the little micro lines, and it's going to look really rough now because we've got a lot of blending that we're going to want to do. But doing the lines helps us with motion, right? So that should feel more like that lip is curling, right? Because of the lines. If we paint it all one color, it looks like a static position. It can still look great, but this is just a nice little way to add that extra value to it. Let me take some of this lighter color and see if I can do this in a place where you guys can see it up close. Might be a little challenging, but let's give her a go. Get the paint moving right. A little looser. Loosey-goosey. Lucy, I'm home. Okay. I gotta lock this down to get the focus dialed right into it. Good enough. Man, this is a really awkward way to paint. So this is our highlight color.
Making sure his chin pops out.
Making sure his chin pops out. Oh, I meant to hit the bottom. I missed that one.
Oh, I
And
see
then
that.
Yeah, it's
Went
okay.
right over that shadow, man. You're going to have to go back in.
It'll get touched up later. We're just gonna
have to redefine
compensate
that.
here. It's a happy accident.
Mm-hmm. Sure thing, Bob Ross.
You can see there's more kind of stippling in this too.
Yeah.
And we're just hitting kind of the top of that cheekbone here. We're gonna hit just this little guy right here. And we're gonna draw that line down. The thing about the micro lines that requires the most maintenance is clearing those couple of little pigments off of the tip of the brush. I don't know if you can see it there. There's a little ball right there on the tip of that brush. Having just some battle foam, taking a wet brush and just sword fighting it with the battle foam can help clean the tip of that brush. That's just regular maintenance while you're painting.
And that's where the pigments dry on your tip and create a little ball.
You got it.
Used to wonder where that was. I always hated it. I still hate it. I hate that it happens.
Okay, so we're gonna add just a little bit more brightness to that one inside of there. Draw the line down. Reinforce this on that brow. Draw the line. A couple little lines across here. Top of the ear especially needs it. And these will start off subtle and then become more and more impactful. So don't rush. Don't jump full saturation on your paint and just slap it on there, because then you will wind up overdoing it. It's better just to take your time. Oh. Crown of the head a bit. Another thing I bring up frequently as well is be sure to remember how paint deposit works. All right, when I place my brush down and I move it across the model, it is going to gather where I pick the brush up, not where I put the brush down. So you want to plan to end your brush stroke in a place that can use a little bit more paint in order to accomplish that. All right, so I don't know how well that's focused in.
That's pretty good.
But nice, quick, and easy. And it's not like contrast quick, right? But it will produce a much more interesting result by the time you're done with it. And it will be a fair bit less drastic once we come back with our glaze to unify.
You ever think about painting an orc unit in just like human skin tones?
Uh-huh. I actually have a test model at the house that did that on one time. It creeped me out. Creeped me out. And we're just kind of going to keep this brighter color on the top, or on the spots that are going to get the highlight, to make sure we've got some interesting, color movement on the model. We don't want to just paint the whole thing and just put a bunch of lines everywhere. We want these lines to kind of tell our story for us.
Wraith Mace, I don't think I've picked up a White Dwarf in many years. Apparently, White Dwarf 505 cover is a pretty nice tribute to Orktober.
Very
Maybe
nice.
You should go pick one up.
No, they get enough of my money without a magazine subscription. I'll tell it the same way to the underprivileged teenagers that come knocking on my door. I don't need any magazine subscription, buddy. I appreciate you.
That still happens?
Yeah.
Man, ain't no one come knocking on our doors in my neighborhood. Unless they're trying to sell us solar panels.
And so, like, the way that I'm doing this brushwork is still a little different than what you do on yours, too, isn't it?
So yes and no. We kind of follow the same process. Like at this stage where you're at your like more extreme highlights, I'm doing a lot of work like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been starting to do a little more stippling and finer lines, things like that, trying to dial it in.
Right.
So like it's different when for my smaller miniatures on the Chaos Knights, not so much, right? Like
Right.
I do a lot of like glazing up to for some of the paneling, but then I get to the sharp edges, and that's when I really try to highlight them, so to speak.
Yeah, Cryface, that's one of the things you guys have in common is he does a lot of and a lot is subjective, of course, but considerably more than me in terms of layers of glazing to accomplish a task.
Yeah. So one of the other things that I've wanted to work on, because I saw it earlier this year, I guess it was a big thing, and I thought it looked really nice, was the stipple highlighting from the, I think it was the Adepticon Golden Demon.
Okay.
A lot of the, you could see it in a lot of the winning entries. Stipple blending and highlighting, I guess, has really moved to the front of like the new hotness, I guess, in a lot of things. It's a good way to build up a lot of contrast a lot quicker than the normal glazing. Because normal glazing, if you want those smooth, creamy glazes, you gotta like really put in the work for it, right? Mm-hmm. And apparently, the stipple version of it works a lot faster, but you know, the skill required for it is different than the standard glazing. So that's something that I would like to work on.
Anybody at home got any specific techniques that are on your radar about like kind of goals you have, something you want to refine, improve, or pick up for the first time altogether? I know that from a non-paint side, back to the game side, I'm trying to get more reps in to kind of get back my player knowledge. It's been a while. But our guy Dan thinks that the best of me died in 9th edition.
I mean, you basically talk about it all the time. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
That poor guy you never finished.
Yeah, the squig is cute. I don't like it on the base, though,
Should have put your guy on a bigger base.
for the war boss.
Or you put him on a little base next to him. There you go. Just go get a little 25.
Or I just don't paint him, and then my war boss is unique.
Then I don't want you to use your squig attacks on him if you don't have them. Your extra attacks, they don't exist.
All right, well, show me where your dark packs are.
Where my dark packs are?
Show me the model that represents the dark packs for your Chaos Space Marines.
All of my models, because they've all made
I need to see it on there.
They've all made a dark
I
pack.
recognize all the weapon equipment. The weapon and equipment on there.
Yeah.
I need to see the dark pack.
Look, dark pack's not an equipment, my man.
Then you can't use
That
it.
is. That's a piece of equipment.
It's not a piece of equipment.
Yes, it is.
It's a living, breathing piece of plastic.
Oh, funny thing about equipment. So, many years ago when I still played D&D, our druid was a bit of a Leroy Jenkins sort of type, right?
Right.
And as such, so was his animal companion. Always getting hurt, almost dying, right? And I don't know, something was going on, like, I guess where, like, he didn't prepare any of his own healing spells, because druids can heal themselves.
Right.
Always asking the cleric to heal his animal companion for him. And the cleric, our player, was like, you know what? I don't heal equipment.
That's messed up.
It ended up causing that animal companion to die. A few times.
That is messed up.
Yeah.
Better heal my squig.
No, I'm pretty sure it was like a, you know, this is 3.5. Like the most optimal animal companion for a druid was a medium-sized brown bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some weird jank you could do with a giant constrictor.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of it had to do with, like, depending on, like, your animal companion, depending on how many of, like, your druid levels you got to add to it. If it was a powerful base animal, you didn't get to add as many of your level bonuses to it.
Right.
But like a medium brown bear is like the most basic thing you can take. And the thing that ended up being the best option for you was to add as many of your druid abilities to it, basically, for leveling. And then, you know, just spell buffs. Same reason why, like, you know, you didn't want to, well, I mean, you may want to play it, but for, like, optimal reasons, you know, anything with, like, the effective character level or the level adjustment wasn't optimal because it was taking away levels from you, like hit dice and abilities.
Right.
For a few extra stat points, basically.
To be fair, I mean, 3.5 had some extreme imbalances because it had a bloated rule set.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with it. we've talked about this. I loved it. That was my edition for a very, very long time. You got to try the new stuff sometime, Eric. And I understand too that certain people are going to enjoy like rule bloat in a game. You know, like there's a certain level of mastery that you have to attain to like be able to like navigate your way through a game that's got a lot of rule bloat to it, right? And like it's a skill set that you cultivate and earn over time. And so like I understand that. What's up, Connor? Great to see you, my friend. Con Field, glad I'm seeing you live finally. Been watching your orcs videos. I've been seeing your orcs in the Discord. I'm super excited to see you taking that step. Connor is a Tau player. Now, I think he's pocketed a couple of first place paint wins at some GTs this year. Cool. Out there doing work, man. Great to see it. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, let's get into our highlight color. Makes it go faster.
No, I did try something different. I did Pathfinder instead.
Okay, well that's not really different.
You know what? It handled a lot of the rules bloat, to be honest. And it basically sealed up a bunch of those loopholes that were kind of accidentally built into 3.5.
Right.
And
oh no, I definitely know it's an improved version of 3.5.
You still had
sure.
the prestige classes, but like that was one of the things, you know, as a power gamer such as myself, right? Like the optimal like class levels you take in prestige classes to make the most broken combination of things. Like that's not a thing in Pathfinder. At least not easily achieved, and there's actual detriments to it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Like I'll be honest with you, I think my favorite, you know, after going through Pathfinder, the most optimal thing I can make was a basic fighter. And it was terrifying for, you know, for the GM. But, so what other RPGs have you played?
I mean, I've been pretty pure on my pretty pure on D&D, Wizards of the Coast D&D. Bulk of my history, of course, is 3.5.
Okay.
I've played the D&D, I guess, 5th edition D&D Beyond.
Right.
I think that them moving their books into a digital sphere is something that GW is long overdue on doing themselves. So big props on them for that. I mean, you don't get free books. You still have to pay for it to add to your library. But, you know, they also allow a DM to buy the books. And then, you know, if you're in that campaign with that DM, well, you've got access to all those books for all your reference and character sheets. Now, if the DM takes you out of that campaign, you lose access to it, right? But that makes the game a lot more approachable, especially newer players, you know, like, because I was the guy with all the minis and all the hardbacks, and like, you know, in 3.5, it was my job to teach people, but they could really only learn at my house until they started making an investment, right? And with 3.5, like, I've got a character that has rules that need to be referenced from 6 to 8 different books, like, and then having a new character.
Those are rookie numbers, sir.
Yeah, having a new player come in and be like, all right, well, I want to make a monk. What books do I need? And you're just like, slap down like a summer reading list on their desk.
Like, man, dude, I remember when I used to go up to Borderlands back before they closed up shop many years ago. Back in my youth, dragging my backpack and like big box of books. I'm like, they'd be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm playing D&D tonight. I need a library with me."
Like, I enjoyed that during that time, right? Because I too was a power gamer. Mm-hmm. I too like to take and put together like just kind of crazy combinations that, you know, would perform really well in certain circumstances.
Wraith Strike Power Attack for full.
What's that?
Wraith Strike Power Attack for full.
Yeah, there you go.
Kill anything.
But I will tell you, the new D&D has been very refreshing.
That's fair.
And I haven't played, I mean, I've played it a couple of times, you know, over the past couple of years. So, like, the last thing I am is an active D&D player for certain.
And I've played a couple of like what is it, the Star Wars West End D6 games.
Okay.
Those are interesting. They're very binary for games, right? You know, it's D6s, yes, no, did you succeed?
Right.
Shadowrun, Cyberpunk, and Shadowrun, if you've never played it, is Cyberpunk with magic.
Right.
Both are honestly really cool worlds. They had great world building. You know, Cyberpunk got its own little anime a year or two ago. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I hear. There's a new anime that just hit Netflix that Jonathan was not too keen.
So that's the Gundam.
Gundam, that's right.
Requiem for a Vengeance. I watched it this week. It's not that bad. You know, it's told in through, well, it's the visual medium isn't traditional Gundam. It's the kind of CGI that can be off-putting. The story's not too bad. There's a few cringy moments and characters in it. But it's told from the opposing side from the 1 Year War. Because in the original animation, it's the story's told from the main character, Amuro Ray, and the side of the Federation. They're the good guys.
Yeah.
Zeon, or the Principality of Zeon, are the bad guys.
Okay.
And there's very few mediums in the main UC timeline where the story is told from the side of Zeon. You know how, you know, they were oppressed, they wanted, you know, equal rights and freedom sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Gundam Thunderbolt was a good example of it. The War in the Pocket, and now this. You know how they're just people on the other side. They're just soldiers. They're just there to do a job.
Right.
You know, they're not inherently bad people. And
But orders is orders, man.
yeah. And like, so like the main character, you know, like she loses her husband to like an attack or something like that. She just wants to get back home to see her son. Like, it's actually kind of sad, right? I thought it was decent. It's not the best Gundam thing I've seen, but I think it'll put Gundam in front of more people. Might make it a little more popular. But Gundam's one of those mediums where like you have the main UC timeline, which I would call like the serious timeline. Mm-hmm. And then they do like a bunch of off series where, you know, 1 to 3 seasons, depending on what it is, it's its own localized timeline and universe. So it doesn't, you know, it doesn't mesh across.
I mean, one thing that we know about anime is they're not afraid to throw out a show with 1,000 episodes on it.
Look, there's only like 2 anime that have ever done that. They typically will not do that and have never done that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. That's One Piece, which, you know...
Which is ironically way more pieces than that by the time you get through it.
You know, like, I didn't, so the whole premise of that is the pirate man who's a rubber band guy, basically, right? Mm-hmm. I guess. And I never
he's like a boy. He's like a child.
He was
like a screaming child.
I mean, presumably he's gotten older, but it's the same person, yeah. Luffy D. Monkey, I think his name is, right?
Netflix show is great. Anime, not my vibe.
There's just too many episodes, man. Like, since I didn't watch it when it came out, like, I don't know, 15 years ago at this point, right? Like, I just can't binge through 1,200 episodes.
Okay, I'm going to let this sit here for a second. Hold on. No, I'm not. I got to get this right. That ain't right.
Yep, get that armpit. You know what would be a really good thing to sculpt in here? Hair squigs. He needs a hairy armpit. Mm-hmm. To have a squig latched onto his pit.
I didn't get this lighter color pass in here at the base of these muscles. So it just kind of looked unfinished. And we're not going for the smoothest and creamiest blends here. We're going for just convincing enough.
That's what stipple blending is for. They don't have to be creamy.
Mm-hmm.
Creamy blends. You know, that's what we need on the stream deck there. A little button when you push it.
And get cheeseburgers.
I could go for a cheeseburger right now.
Bro, I would crush a cheeseburger right now with my whole self. I would put my heart into that cheeseburger. and do terrible things to it.
I mean, I would consider some fast food, but I haven't had fast food in, I don't know. I don't know when the last time I ate bad food was. I've been on a whole, eating healthier, making my own food sort of diet for the last couple months.
Hell yeah. Well, I do know that while Dean was in town, I know we did Ale House, which is
There we go. That was
restaurant food, but it
I mean, it's not fast food, but it's not.
yeah, it's still freezer food.
Yeah. I mean, at least it was cooked, I guess.
I mean,
it's not a McDonald's hamburger. That's all that matters.
oh, I missed a whole side of his face. The side that's all in shadow.
Well, then it's in shadow. Look at that.
You are right in the fact that we don't need to do as much to it. For sure.
We need to get Cryface back on here and see if he forgets to turn the mic off when he goes to the bathroom again.
That poor guy, dude. I mean,
So, I wonder if we can make a bet out
you
of
can
it.
tell that he's got a life of those types of experiences because he's like, hey, I left the mic on. Whoops, my bad.
Did you ever play any of the White Wolf games?
No, but I was a bar back. And I might have told you this story. I was a bar back at nightclubs in my youth, and one of the bars that I worked at was like the spot for
For all the LARPers.
Vampire the Masquerade and like the Jacksonville goth culture.
What's going on, Nurgle Matthew?
What's up, Nurgle Matthew? So in Vampire, when you're LARPing, there's a mechanic that if you cross your arms in front of your chest,
You're invisible, yeah.
and people can't see you,
Yeah,
right? That's the rule.
You're an obfuscate.
And these idiots would just stand, and first of all, I say that because of the time. If you play Magic or Vampire and enjoy it, more power to you. I think it's awesome to have a way to express yourself creatively. But these idiots would stand right in the walkway with their arms crossed in front of their chest so they could like spy on something somebody was talking about. And I'd be carrying like 2 or 3 cases of beer at a time, or these big 50-pound bags of ice, like one over my shoulder, one in my hand, and having to hustle, right? And so one night, I was moving, and this kid steps right out in front of me and crosses his hands because he wasn't paying any attention to me at all. And I had an option to either slow down and divert myself, or just keep on going.
And you
And
walked
so I
through him.
just walked right into him. And I'm a big guy, so he came right off of his feet. And as soon as he hit the ground, I'm like, oh man, how'd you get there? Oh my God, are you okay? I didn't see you. Oh, it was hilarious.
Bully.
I mean, dude,
Did you hear this guy? This man was a bully.
I think he was pretty impressed at how invisible he had made himself. To be honest with you, I don't think he felt bullied, but it was pretty damn funny. I was just like, all right, well, if you're going to stand in my way and not just have consideration for anybody in the space because you're invisible, well, this is what happens to invisible people when they stand in the way.
They get walked into. That's funny. I remember you telling me that, yeah. Still funny the second time. Yeah, there's a shockingly fairly large like LARP group culture here in Jax still.
It is secretly one of those things that I always thought was cool, and that given the right exposure and the right availability for time and whatever, I'd probably check it out. Okay. So, let's come back to our little bit of Croxagore here. We did it in the airbrush that last time. I want to be more direct with it here, so I'm going to put some on the wet palette. And we're going to blend with a brush through glazing.
Oh my god. Do you have any glazing medium?
At the house.
Okay.
Yeah, we can
I guess water we'll just have to do.
Yeah, I don't believe in a lot of mediums and stuff.
I do like the glazing medium from Vallejo.
Vallejo.
Tell that to Cesar.
I will not tell that to Cesar. I will tell that to you.
What, I can't pronounce it properly? Just because I'm
You
white?
can, but you chose to say some stupid stuff. That's why I corrected you. I totally believe in your ability to say it correctly.
Yeah. Well, you know, like we say Vallejo
Look.
here.
Look, Cesar is Spanish.
Yeah.
So when he says things that sound a little funny, you go with it. All right? If you are saying something that sounds funny because Cesar said it that way, that ain't gonna cut it.
Cesar is telling me that's the correct pronunciation of it is Vallejo. How can I not respect that?
I mean, maybe in other parts of the world, but we don't put like
You know, just because we are in
random letters and
Just because we are in Ratchet Jacksonville doesn't mean I have to debase myself by saying Vallejo.
I'm just saying you look kind of ridiculous when you say it like that, and everybody else that you meet is going to go, "Huh? What? Why are you saying it weird?"
I just choose to pronounce it correctly. You know, like I say herb because there's an H in it, right?
What?
It's only silent here in the States. Johnny Zed saying VTM flashbacks. Yep.
What flashbacks?
A Vampire the Masquerade. VTM.
Ah.
Yeah, I did VTM. I did the Requiem too. Versions of the same game, just different editions where they like changed the background lore and you know, like the history and some of the clans and things like that. I had a lot of fun back in the day, and you know, I played a few like you know, like RPG versions of it, not actually like going out there and LARPing, because you know, being inside an air-conditioned room is a lot better here in Florida.
Yeah, I would be more inclined to play a tabletop version of it. You know, like I have no problem like with the improvisational nature of D&D, right? Like you are, in many ways, kind of an acting exercise, right? You're, but like the physical acting things out and stuff, like it's just a little much for me.
Yeah, it requires an extra layer, an extra level of energy, for sure, both mental and physical, right? You know, the most recent one I played, it was VTM. My buddy Tim was running it at our house. I think there was 4 of us playing, and it was we were playing versions of ourselves that had been kidnapped and turned into vampires. So it was really weird, right? Because like I'm playing myself, who has now become a vampire.
You suck.
No, it was just you know, trying to, you know, because I really got into it, right? You know, that character, because it was me, and
Right.
the existential crisis that I was having.
So just taking a loose glaze there, can I just put that over top in the areas that I want the shadow to be? And we're just gonna take this one highlight color again, do one more pass, and then I'm gonna call the flesh done enough to move on to the other parts of the model. This marks well past the halfway point too, which is what's nice.
Yeah, just got to do some. You got to dial in some details, some metallics, and the fluorescent tubes.
Mm-hmm.
So Johnny Zed's over here saying totally justified. I remember when people would do that back at the clubs he went to. Anyone who did Invis and the path of traffic was open game.
I mean, I feel like it would be disrespectful to their game if I was like, "Excuse me, sir, but I can see you."
Get out of my way.
Yeah, that's why I did it. Not because it was hilarious. I mean, there are certain times that you do something to be funny, and although it does turn out to be pretty funny, it turned out way meaner than you expected, you know? That wasn't necessarily one of those times. That was about as mean as I expected it to be.
Well, one of the other dangers of doing it outside is having cops pull up on you.
Well, back in my martial arts days, we used to get together and use kendo sticks and really go into heavy sparring sessions. And we did have cops roll up on us with shotguns one time because they thought it was like some sort of gang violence was about to outbreak. There were like 10 or 12 of us out there and we're about to go to war with sticks.
Yeah.
We're like, dude, shotguns are a little excessive here, guys.
So, I was watching from the sidelines. I wasn't involved in this, but like something had happened like out front at the place we were at. This used to be. It was down in Arlington. There used to be this little.
That checks out. I don't know where the story's going, but bad things happen in Arlington.
Yeah, it was a sandwich shop or something that used to be over there, and she had some extra space in the back, and it was a decent venue, I guess. And had some back rooms, so cool. One of the players had staked one of the other players, not like physically, right? But so they put him in torpor, and they acted it out, him picking him up and putting him in the back of his truck. So the guy acted like a dead body, just dead weight, and allowed himself to be picked up and tossed in the back of a truck. Cops were rolling by.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, cops are like, "Did you just throw a dead body in your truck?" And the guys get out of their car, and I was just like, "Oh no, oh no, they have no idea what's going on." But no, it went over. But like that was just like that could have gone the wrong way.
Oh, to be young and dumb. I mean, to be old and dumb too, but also to be young and dumb.
Yeah, see, being old and dumb is probably more preferable than being young and dumb sometimes. The only thing I miss about being young is nothing hurt yet. Like you start hitting your 30s and you're like, oh, my back's okay.
Yeah, and now at our age, even just not even dumb, but just maybe slightly irresponsible hurts.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, and you're like catching that dice. Oh no, should have let that hit the floor. Not sure this was worth the next 2
Who did I
weeks of
think
pain.
I was?
Metal Ed saying it looks great.
What's going on, Metal Ed? Okay.
Yep, let's let that sit down. Get up and stretch, keep the blood flowing, folks. That is key.
That's code for he needs another Red Bull. Alrighty. Let's see what this man is doing to this poor model. There we go. Need like why don't we have an X on the table?
Because me and the table are trying to work things out.
Okay, fair. So it looks like we still got to get some leather details in there, metallics, tubes, teeth. At least, oh, yep.
All the T's. That's the hardest part. If you can get the skin looking decent, then everything around it, looks better for it.
Yeah. Can't wait to see some of that fluorescent blue. Oh, we got a little weird little drill thingamabobber, cork popper thing.
Yeah, he's popping corks, popping bottles.
Popping bottles on the ice, like a blizzard. Ever remember that song? Back in the clubbing days. Oh, that song is old and so am I now. All right, well, looking to see where you go with this next, sir.
Yeah, actually still have Red Bull over there. But yeah, every so often I'd like to get up, stand up, stretch, look at it from a distance, get the blood moving again.
I know you picked up that can, it sounded pretty empty. I figured you were going to walk out and grab another Red Bull.
No, I had one on standby.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and highlight Homeboy up here for the little Gretchen. This guy will go pretty quick.
For this, we're going to use some Serpent Eye Yellow from Too Thin Coats and some Sun Bleach Yellow from Too Thin Coats. I will BRB. Yep, yep. Yes. To my own devices. Hand me one of those Chaos Knights.
Absolutely not. Destroyed that one at Cherry.
That's why I don't like Chaos Knights. Because they are weak. And a lot of this is, guys, we're just doing some kind of fairly clumsy stuff because what we're going for is just high contrast. But we want those shadows to be a color and not just darkness. You know, you could simply, like we talked about, paint the whole thing one color, apply a wash, maybe a little highlight, Bob's your uncle. However, what are you gonna wash it with? Agrax? Nuln oil? Those both desaturate. Flesh tone? Flesh wash? Yeah. Desaturates it. So we focus on things that'll keep color in it and just gives it more life to it. If you look at the shadows on your skin at any given time, rarely are they brown. Never are they black. Guys, make sure you thank Eric for coming in here tonight. I know that the stream is much more engaging when there's someone here in the production role. It gives us someone to talk to and conversations. Also, you know, it allows him to let me know when you guys in chat are saying stuff in chat. That way I'm not just painting and ignoring you guys. And believe me, if you're having more fun, I'm having more fun. What's going on, Warlord Old Stale One? Always good to see you. Welcome back. Gretchen like this can be a little bit more challenging, as a lot of their detail is really kind of obscured. It's not as crisp as a lot of the other stuff. So you just figured out a little kind of beat at a time, if you will. And this is all mid-tones we're doing right now. So our highlights will really help it as well once we get into those. And we're not doing like we did on the Orc Flesh, we're not doing a bunch of little micro lines per se. We're still doing kind of a sketchy style of paint job on it to get these colors in here. But we're not trying to highlight the musculature of these like we did the big burly Orc Flesh. You know, that means that, you know, that also gives us an opportunity to have contrast between these two organic materials side by side. You know, the Orc is like ripped and gnarled, and the Gretchen's kind of round and soft. Welcome back, sir.
Yep. Saw my
Quickest poop ever.
aunt and uncle are getting their costumes ready.
Nice.
Yeah, my dad's brother and his wife are big Halloween fans.
As all should be. Yeah, we talked about that.
And he's doing Beetlejuice.
Oh, that's awesome.
And God, what was the name of the girl in the movie?
The
one played-
actress
yeah.
or the character?
Well, I know it's Winona Ryder, but I don't remember the name of the character.
Yeah, I don't think the name of the character is as important as Winona's name. She was a, growing up in the 90s.
What's going on, Warlord Old Style one?
Big crush. Loved me. Love me some Winona Ryder. Winona Ryder and Christina Ricci.
Now it's what is it? Jenna Ortega's the new one, like the daughter, I think.
Yeah, but I was a young man back then, so like these girls were attractive to me, whereas like the new flavor is just like looks like a child.
That's fair, because probably like 3 times their age.
And don't get me wrong, I never watched The Addams Family. He's like, oh yeah, that's what does it for me. But she's got some movies in her catalog, in her IMDb. They're very grown-up movies.
So I've been told. Kind of waiting for supposed to be coming up soon. The next season of Wednesday and Stranger Things. I'm looking forward to those.
Yeah, Agatha All Along has started premiering on Disney Plus. That's one that once it finishes, I'll have to renew my Disney Plus to check it out. But it looks like they're introducing Lady Death.
Is that a Marvel thing?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
She was actually the love interest of Thanos, and the reason that Thanos kind of went nutty.
Yeah. Because she was more interested in Deadpool.
So
I vaguely remember some of those stories.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see what they do with that, and if they use that as like the catalyst to fully pull Deadpool in.
What was it? I heard something that the girlfriend of Deadpool in the movies, that was really Lady Death.
The girl that did what?
The girl who played his girlfriend in the movies.
Yeah, I think that's a fan theory that will likely get debunked.
I think it was only because I guess in one of the comic lines, she turned out to be Lady Death. I think. I don't remember. I mean, I like comics, but was never a big enough fan to, habitually buy them and read them.
I'm with you. Yeah, like most of my comic trivia are things that I've learned from other means rather than reading comics. Like back in my HeroClix days, I got my hands on like the Marvel Encyclopedia, and that became like the coffee table book for a while. And I could just sit there, flip it open to a random page, and like learn about an obscure character, some strange facts about an obscure character that I never would have thought twice about. And that paired at the game, because you get these new figures in one of the new sets or whatever, and you're like, who is this guy with a intergalactic, DJ booth, Never heard of him. Let's look him up in the... That was, of course, long before we had Wikipedia.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I know I'm okay with it. Either way. As my brother-in-law, Proto-J, he's been getting heavy into golf. And so while I was over there for that Halloween party today, him and his golf buddy were talking golf, and his golf buddy's like, dude, you gotta come out here and hit some of these balls with us. And I was like, first of all, that sounds like work.
Oh, it is. 100%.
Second of all, I cannot afford $40K and any other hobbies. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah.
This is where I have to draw the line. The last thing I need to be out there doing is out there getting fitted for clubs and buying a bunch of damn polo shirts so I can go play a game somewhere. And
You know, my dad's a big golf guy. He likes golf.
I mean, shout out to those people that enjoy it and are good at it, because, I mean, it's got to be one of the hardest sports, period, huh?
As Robin Williams used to say, hitting a tiny ball with a crooked stick.
Yeah, like, what kind of masochist, like, invented that game?
Apparently the Scottish.
Checks out.
Yeah. No, like last year we did a team building exercise at work where they took us to Topgolf.
Okay.
And I was just like, oh my God, this is so awful. It hurts so much. Like, you either don't hit it hard enough and the ball just kind of meh, or you try to put some power behind it and you just whiff, or you slice the ball. Like, someone sliced that ball so hard it hit someone underneath of us. It like kind of went out sideways and curved down.
Yeah, I went out to the driving range one time with a good friend of mine in Virginia while I lived up there. And I think I knocked out half a bucket of balls. And then I had him finish the bucket, because he worked all the way through his. And that was the last time I went out there.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what I told these guys. Like, dude, I will gladly come out to the driving range and let's hang out. You guys hit your balls around. I'll make a bunch of jokes. You know, it'll be a great time. But having the energy reserves to get out there and try and learn that game, that's a game that can't happen quickly. You know, that's a game you have to learn over a fair amount of time. And my brother-in-law, dude, he's one of these guys that once he decides he wants to do something, he's going to do it. Like, he's going to figure it out. He's going to be successful at it. And so he's actually doing pretty well as a new golfer. I
Kind of late to the
certain
game.
things. What's that?
Kind of late to the game.
Yeah. I mean, but it is a game for old men, so like late is the right time. You know what I
You
mean?
should see. A couple of years ago, I was down in Orlando with my dad. We were visiting some of our family down there for the holidays, and we were staying at a hotel that is also, I guess, doubles as like a big golf tournament place or whatever.
Okay.
Where they got a bunch like the youth golfers there.
The youth.
Like, my dad was like, he wanted to go watch them. He's like, look how good they are. You know, and these are people who are in like their late teens, maybe early 20s, I guess. He's like, these are the future pros.
Coming back with that end in yellow. And we're just going to come back across this guy, letting that end settle into these recesses. I didn't thin it as much as I would have liked to, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this, get this on here, and we're going to come back with a wet brush and kind of clear some of that surface off of there. This is that unifying wash that we're talking about.
Kind of homogenize the colors.
Yeah, because we're painting like, you know, we're painting in sections. Right, where here's a section where it's the mid-tone, and then in the middle of that section is the highlight, and so this just helps kind of smooth out the transitions from one thing to the next. All right, so I'll just come back with a wet brush now. Primary thing we're trying to do here is use this contrast as a glaze rather than a contrast. So the coming back with this watery brush is just thinning out the paint and not letting that contrast medium do what it wants to do. No, not too shabby. Gets the job done. Good enough for government work. Okay, so we've got lots of metallics that we can get in here and work out. Yeah, I guess I didn't need that after all. Tons of metallics to get in here and work out. Some other colors to kind of decide on.
Where's that shyish?
What time is it over there?
It is 10:17.
10:17, a little behind.
We spend too much time talking about random stuff.
Yeah, never too much time. We spend just enough time.
It's all secretly my fault, Jacob. You can blame me.
I was just tricking you to hang out with me. That's all I'm doing.
I secretly only needed to come up here for this blue. That's why I'm trying to convince him to use it.
I mean, no matter how it turns out over here, I strongly encourage you to take it with you.
Oh, yeah,
and
I'm
do
going
some
to.
experiments on your own as well.
Yeah. I also need to take inventory of my blue paints in general. Yeah, I'd like to get that avatar done in probably this week.
That'd be awesome.
So thinking, what was it, the 24th, maybe for the next RTT?
Okay. You know, my personal schedule is going to have to change for us to get the Wake and Make series going. So I might get Froggy and actually play one of these RTTs with you guys.
That would be hilarious.
Be hilarious.
Hilarious. Like, this man only wakes up early if we're forced to drive.
Or I just don't go to sleep.
Yeah.
But okay. I've got some other colors I need to decide on where I want to use them and all. Let's go ahead and just jump into these metallics here. Get our trusty sponge out. Why do I have this glove on still? God, this hand is so...
So moist now?
I was trying to find another word that wasn't the M word. But yes, very much.
Creamy blend.
All right, and just rough up the top of it so it's not a flat surface. Grab out our plate armor. This is what we've been using for all of the other stuff, so why stop now? And then we just do this kind of like to quickly block in metallics, then we can come back in with a brush where we need it. But we shouldn't have anywhere on here, and we're just gonna go over the spots that those vials are. We'll come back with a white to bring that in. But yeah, there shouldn't be like anything on here that gets completely silver between the metal itself corroding, you know, the dirt and grime and stuff that's going to gather on it, the shadows that worked into it. Very, very little, if anything, is going to have a nice, solid, just basically silver coat on it.
That is a fantastic use of that tool. I've got a bunch of those at home. I never thought about that.
What, this here?
Yeah, to grip it, I've been using a pair of tweezers. My God, this sucks.
Yep, I just took, you know, these cheap brushes that I talk about all the time that cost me like 10 cents a piece that I'll use and then literally throw away. I just pulled the ferrule off of it. Actually, I think I cut it with tweezers. And then I just super glued that alligator clamp onto the end of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is a great tool. Okay, so before I get into some of this, I do have to pick how we want to do the colors for it. And I'll show you what I mean here in a minute.
Tips from Hozen.
All right, and so because of how close that Gretchen is, we'll come back in there. And for a speed paint, you really could truly like basically get to this step and be like, all right, boom, done. Base colors on here.
Everything's got enough pizzazz on it. You see my metallics. You see like
As you see, you know, we're gonna obviously take it further.
That's right. We're always take things further.
But this is one of my, like I said, this is the first step out of the ugly phase, where like,
It's starting to look like a model.
and this is the easiest way to apply a metallic. Okay, so we need to pick and see, do we want to do colors on the housing of that stuff here? And then we also need to figure that out on the back. There's a couple spots I want to just drop a little bit of color in. So let's figure out those colors, let's get those punched in, then we can come back, add the silver to those places, and then of course will be a couple of little spots we'll touch up with a silver hit. So what colors for those? I don't know. I think we just kind of stick with that burgundy or the magenta. That bright pink. I think that's a pretty cool color for it. A little dome fire.
No, I got that at home. I haven't used it yet.
It's nice, man. It's basically a vibrant Vulpus. So if you used Vulpus at all, it's in that same family, but it's got a lot more vibrancy in the pigmentation. It's kind of the hot pink version. And then Sigvald Burgundy is another one that's kind of similar and has the same similar sort of vibe to it as well. It's in that, like, you could take the three of those colors and line them up based on brightness and their saturations. But yeah, it's like I'm just going with this color because it's kind of like Red Cross, but with pizzazz.
I think the orcs call it the green cross.
Okay, let's let that sit on there for a moment, and then let's do a little container next to it in that Croxagore. We've already got the color in here. And that'll just give like something else that mix it up a little bit. If you can use a color in your palette, it'll probably look, if you have a color that's already in your palette, I should say, it'll probably look pretty good to add it to different parts of your palette.
Did I just notice this?
I guess so. Yeah, the Titans shipped us that afterwards. We just have been so busy we haven't put together a game for it yet. Very cool terrain. I don't know how well it plays the GW layouts.
It doesn't. I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, so
But it's-
one of the things that we want to do with the stream is have like at least a day of the week that like is the like we're playing for fun day, and we build like unique terrain, like tables and stuff like that. And we'll see more play on that when that time comes for sure.
Looks like Kroot-Vember up in there.
Yeah, dude, it's we got a lot of painting to do next month for sure. Dude, you have COVID? Dude, rest up. Definitely, dude, that's no fun.
Who's got COVID?
Warlord.
Oh, I see that now.
Okay, let that settle in there. I'm gonna grab just a little brush here.
You know, I've had two experiences with COVID. One, barely noticeable. One, I felt like I was dying for 2 days.
For how many days?
For like 2 days.
For 2 days.
I mean, I have an immune system, so it functioned pretty well.
Oh, you're one of those people that has an immune system. That's crazy,
Yeah.
because most people, Eric, don't have immune systems.
Yeah, I know. Like my roommate, who almost died like 3 times from COVID.
Well, I mean, he's definitely got some other health stuff going on too, though, huh?
Oh no, I had to tell him to go to the hospital like twice, I think.
That sounds like some health stuff.
Yeah. But no, it was a terrible experience. Like my back hurt. Like it was just, you got all the weird symptoms with COVID, right? Like it could be anything.
I was just tired, man, and so I just laid around and watched like way too many seasons of Survivor. I wanted something I could binge, and I'd never been a Survivor watcher. And I was like, oh, here's 20-something seasons of this show. Let's put it on. So now I watch Survivor.
So when I had it, like the bad version of it for me, right? Like I had light sensitivity, a runny nose, and like extreme back pain.
Yeah, no, I was just lethargic and tired. So I got off pretty easy, I think.
Yeah.
But it did have me like, it was like 4 or 5 days where all I did was lay around. And then, we quarantined. Actually, that's how Sock and Sarah fell in love. Because they weren't around I wasn't able to open up the house for us to all hang out there, so they hung out together. And that was the last we saw of them both. No.
How are they doing? I haven't seen
They're
them
doing
in a
great,
minute.
man. I got to see them not too long ago, dude. Last week sometime.
They still live in your neighborhood?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd gone over to Fresh Market, and they had these like gourmet burgers in the meat department. There were like blue cheese and like bacon and cheddar and all these, and so
That sounds delicious right now.
it was just like me and the wife, and I wound up getting 6 burgers. And so, we fed Cryface, and I called Sock and Sarah, said, hey, I got burgers going, come eat one. So we got to spend some time with them. Very nice. Very nice indeed, if you're into that sort of stuff.
Now, artisan gourmet burgers, I think everyone is into, unless you're a vegetarian, I guess.
It'd be funny if like vegetarians are like, nah, that's actually the one time I'll cheat.
Ugh.
So even with the brush, I'm not going for full coverage with this silver. I'm just making sure that we've got some of that silver pop on all of these edges, just so you can kind of see them from a distance. What good's detail if you can't see it from a distance?
Word.
Okay, well, we totally just missed a whole Gretchen hand and painted it silver, but I'm cool with that.
Really? What grot hand?
The one that's up underneath the weapon.
Oh.
If I wasn't really trying to hit a deadline tonight,
I see it now.
I would spend more time on it. But, it'll be something that I can always, during one of the streams this week, pull the model off the shelf and do kind of a little touch-ups.
You can always finish it throughout the rest of the week. It doesn't need to be like 100% done tonight.
Yeah, I agree. Getting it done enough to where we feel good about it on the table for tomorrow, and then it'll...
I mean, I have to use one of my old rhinos tomorrow. Those really old hazard
Yeah,
strips.
but I've got... I'm an orc player, so I've got certain standards.
Yeah.
But if I had a truck in my list, I'd be using an old Rhino tomorrow, too.
Yeah. I think you need some more battle wagons, though.
I'll be honest, I was thinking about dropping one of the battle wagons for Gretchen, but I didn't want to spend too much time on the list. And then once I looked to see what your list was, I didn't want to change my list at all, right? Because I could make my list stronger into your matchup. Adversely, I could make my list weaker into your matchup. My big thing is I just, like we talked about outside, I didn't want to put a list in front of you that was like just some weird hard counter for what you were playing. Because orcs can do that sometimes, where it's like, oh, you weren't prepared for this? Well, it's orcs, and we're here with it, so get prepared. But I'm curious, I think that, not having Gretchen means that my CP economy can potentially take a hurt.
Oh, Cypher might be mean then. With that Agent of Discord.
Oh, you got it's like a Vect or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's lone op. I think he infiltrates. He might deep strike too. I don't know. 4-up invuln save. He has some cool pistol shots as the Agent of Discord or whatever. And Once per turn, if you shoot a chaos unit within 3 inches of him, he can shoot you.
That sounds fun.
Not that I think you're going to be doing a ton of shooting by the looks of it.
And what's the range for that stratagem? Or for the
The shoot thing?
the CP
The CP thing is
the
12
CP
inches from
Vex
him.
12 inches?
Yeah, so like in this case, he'll probably be used as a kind of unit near one of my other units. So if you want to charge a unit and pop stratagems or whatever, it'll cost you 2. So it'll be used as a defensive piece probably.
Not a lot of stratagems I'll use.
Don't you have like ones to like reroll hits in combat and stuff like that? Because you're doing Green Tide.
I'll have to double check. And yeah, there are obviously strategies that will help me, but it is also a weight of dice build. So in a situation where like I've got 1 CP and I can't use the stratagem I would want to use because of your Vect ability, I'll just have to find a way to be all right without it. Some of the big things that I'll want to use my CP for are guaranteeing charges. You know, every turn round, I can get a +1 to the charge based on the turn round. And that was where I was like, after the fact, I was like, well, if I didn't have a battle wagon here, and I could bring some Gretchen in, I could put that other pack of 20 bodies in reserve, you know, for a nice 6-inch charge at a reserve on turn 3.
So the thing where it might come in handy is competitive streak. That's your reroll 1s to wound or reroll all wounds. You know, that's probably fairly valuable when you're talking about weight of dice with some rerolls.
It's not bad. Has a lot more value on it.
Yeah, when you're a 10-pack, because that is reroll wounds.
Yeah, I mean, no, there's good value to it for sure. And if I have the CP, I'll use it. You know, I'm sure at some point. But
Bulldozer Brutality, the 3-inch engagement range.
Yeah, that's pretty nice too.
The Come On Lads, I guess.
Which ones come on, lads, again?
The return D3 plus 2 models.
Yeah. That'll be a good one for sure.
Tide of Muscle, that's the charges. So that could be mean.
It could be. Yeah, no, for
you
sure.
know, if you're outside
like
of
I said,
12
I'm already
inches.
mentally preparing myself for playing the game really without any stratagems, you know, just in case, you know, the worst happens and you do interfere too much with it. Okay, that final drying bit. Oh, this stuff's dry. Let me go ahead and slap some of this silvery bits on it here.
Silvery bits. I think you got that Gretchen's toe. I think that Gretchen's toe got hit by that silver.
Yeah, you wanted his toes painted. I painted his toes, damn it.
Oh, look at you just making things up. Like a walking dad joke.
I am. 100%. Walking around talking about, have you seen my kids? Because I got no kids there.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm a
Jacob.
man without children.
I get that, and it shows.
But I gave birth to all this wonderful humor. That's what you mean, I'm sure. Okay, let that set for a second. Stretch it out. Next step is going to go ahead and be dumping into the dirty downs, getting that worked into all of our metallics. Once that's in, we can come back and pick out things like our syringes and our tubes and such.
Tubes. You know, you should do that as a yellow tube with the black striping around it.
Yeah, maybe.
I kid.
Good night, Warlord. Rest up, my friend. I hope you recover quickly.
So let's see. I know.
And I'm not doing any basing tonight.
Yeah, I figured. So what do we got? So I know we got our game tomorrow. Trying to remember what the next ones are. What's our first Saturday game? I don't remember.
Next Saturday?
Yeah.
What is the matchup?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think I'm playing this Sunday and then next Sunday as well. I go a month or two without playing any games, and 2 back-to-back. I'm about it.
Or 2 in back-to-back weeks, I should say. Okay, got to be careful of that. Got earthquake season back.
You mean your forehead?
Go ahead and just shake this for the next 4 minutes.
Shake, shake.
With the inclusion of all these new models this month, those shelves are bursting at the seams. I'm gonna have to kick the Grey Knights off of that shelf down there and get another shelf.
I'll take that. I'll take the Chaos stuff back that I got in there. It doesn't get used very often anyways.
Well, I think that you're going to be our primary Chaos player. I think Julian's going to play with it some. I know Dan will tell you, like, you know, I want to play the Chaos because he wants to play everything.
Do everything, yeah.
You know, more power to him for sure. So you'll probably see the occasional Dan game. I'm going to take an extra cup here and just put some drops of water in it. I don't want to really intermingle this Dirty Downs rust effect with my other water. Dirty Downs. Poured it in here. I'm going to take that wet brush that we just had here a moment ago. While it's still wet, dip it in there, give it a spin, and then we're going to very, very generously apply it up here. Now it's loose, right? Because of that extra water in the brush. So it's going to really fill in those cracks, and I'm not going to worry about hitting like the full edges of everything. Like I'm going to try and avoid getting this on the skin.
You want to go up a bit?
Getting this on other places that we don't really want to look like rusted metal. Try and keep that intact by just making sure it stays on the proper surfaces. But like we talked about, this guy's got to be, he's a doctor, right? So you'd think, oh, he must be the most sanitary. Well, we're going to go the opposite route. And he is going to be the gunkiest boy on the battlefield.
First game on Saturday is Julian with his Eldar, Dark Eldar, versus my Eldar.
Versus your Eldar. Okay, you guys kicking it off. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. That'll be a fun game.
That's why I wanted to get this Avatar done.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Because he's T12 and I can give him -1 to wound and he'll be unkillable for Julian.
Bone saw. A little of that gets on that cloak. That'll be fine, because not the cloak, the apron. The
Same
apron,
difference.
we're going to have to come back and paint the color that we want it to be anyway.
Man, and the orc he operates on probably gets tetanus.
Probably is tetanus by the time he's done.
Facts.
But the reason we want it to kind of puddle is to get varying degrees of rusting happening on it, right? We want the color variance to be pretty strong, so it's not just the same color all over. And so by diluting it in certain places more than others, we should be able to make that happen.
Oh, saw a little splatter on your hand there.
On the hand,
Yeah, you got a little bit on your
on
left
on
hand
like
there?
my human hand,
Yeah,
or
your human hand.
oh, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, I know you're not.
I probably wouldn't have been worried about it on the orc hand either, but it's good to know.
So be careful. That brush, you might press it too hard, and when it flicks out, you just get splattered with little rust.
Oh yeah, no, this brush is sloppy, my friend. This brush is super sloppy, for sure.
Do we have any of that Ugu stuff to do like the blood effects?
Yeah, the ooh. Yeah, I've got some at the studio, at the home studio. I can bring in.
I just figured you could do blood effects on his claw.
Yeah, like we're going to use some blood for the blood god on here for sure, at the very least.
All right.
Skulls for the skull throne.
Now we do need to let that sit for a few moments. This will take a minute to dry because of how loose we put it on here.
You know,
But this also means that we're almost done with what we wanted to get accomplished tonight.
you know, investing in a hairdryer would help with that.
I mean, yeah, they're not expensive to use.
Well, no, for like the rust effect specifically, because it helps.
Because of the
warm
warmth of it. Yeah, the warmth
and
can
it'll
help
dry it up,
activate
yeah.
it and make it do crazier things. Like if you really want that like really soft orangey look to it, it does that very well. So let's let that dry.
Blow on it gently, Jacob.
At some point, I am going to win some sort of like humanitarian adjacent award for all of the jokes I keep to myself.
What joke did
Because
you
it's
keep
a
to
real
yourself?
exercise.
I'm trying to get you to
in
make
self-control.
Jokes. I'm trying
I
to
know.
get you to make jokes.
I see you baiting me. You're a master. Okay, let that sit for a moment. Can we let it sit in a way that you guys can take a look at it? I think so.
And oh, it wants to roll.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. All that talk of cheeseburgers got a man with a hankering.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I'm almost hungry enough that I would consider the McDonald's down the road. Almost.
Double quarter pounder with Big Mac sauce. Dude, it's the move. I don't know why it took me so damn long to figure it out, but it is for those of you, the guys that like Big Macs. You know, but you also would prefer to have some meat on your burger. Double quarter pounder with the Big Mac sauce is a vibe. I mean, Ale House wasn't bad.
No, but
I mean, it was actually pretty delicious.
I wanted
if
more
I'm honest.
fries, to be honest. Like, they gave me a small amount of fries. I was kind of like,
Yeah.
can I get some more?
My chicken tendies were definitely served on a mountain of fries.
Yeah. Oh, I noticed. You and Dean's. I was just like, I'm going to start grabbing their fries, but I didn't. Should have. No, the one fast food I've missed that I haven't had is Wendy's, though. I like their spicy chicken nuggets.
Yeah, it's like we might have talked about this. Wendy's used to be the GOAT, right? They used to be, for me, my favorite fast food joint, period. Because everything was just like good quality food.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere along the lines, Wendy's fell off for me, right? I go to a Wendy's and I order like I can get a Baconator and get flavor in my mouth. But if I get just like a Dave's double or something,
Yeah.
it's just grease.
Yeah.
It doesn't really like have any flavor profile to it. It's just like a greasy burger, which just doesn't do it for me.
They had, I think it comes back every now and then. It's like their pub burger, their pub pretzel burger or whatever.
Okay.
I remember that. I ate that a lot back in the day.
I used to do like the,
Or like pretzel bread or some crap.
they got like a nice chicken sandwich or something I used to put ranch on, right? But I don't know. I just don't do Wendy's much anymore. I definitely eat more fast food than a grown person should, admittedly. I mean, I know people that are worse, so like I don't feel too bad about it, you know. But who's got time to cook, man? And like, you know the struggle when you don't have like, if you've got a family to feed. I've got to feed 4 or 5 people. Grocery shopping makes nice, easy sense.
Yeah.
Right. I can easily feed a family of 4 or a family of 5 through grocery shopping and cooking. Whereas like me and the wife, when my wife eats like a squirrel, like, well, she eats 12 times a day, but like every time it's like a little squirrel eating. And so like I need to make a meal that's just a bit larger of a portion size than I would normally eat. Like, so I don't know.
So
It's a hassle.
that's fair. That's fair. So I only have to feed myself, and I make enough food at any given time for about 2, maybe 3 days, depending on what my portion sizes end up being. That's just what I do now. I do a lot of meal prep.
We did break down and buy a rice cooker. And so I have been eating my weight in rice, dude. Like getting home from the stream and be like, we also do fancy butter, right?
Yeah, I like butter.
We bougie, right? So like there's this,
I do rice and butter.
dude, I don't remember. I think it's from Spain. I don't remember. It's called Presidente is the type of butter.
I mean, I could just eat it by itself. I don't even need it. It's so good. It is so good.
That just
So,
seems
like,
wrong.
You know, like some rice, a little butter in there, warm it up. You know, it kind of feels like prison food, but it's good.
So like I predominantly like eat rice and then like I add some vegetable and meat to like my meal for the day for my lunch. But I always add a little butter and some chili powder in there.
All right, definitely still going to take a few minutes to dry here. I do see where we had a little runnage, a little spillage. This stuff does reactivate with water. So I can take these parts that have the flesh where that rust is kind of spilled over and kind of clean it up. Now it won't come fully clean. It does kind of have a yellow sort of tint to it, which on our orc skin here isn't going to hurt us. But if we were doing something that was a color that didn't play well with yellow, let's say this is purple, it is going to sap all the vibrancy from it. So just do be mindful of that. And I was quick here and a little sloppy, which kind of describes how I paint my orcs really anyway.
It describes Jacob's life. Quick and sloppy.
I don't know. You know, maybe somewhat. Maybe certain parts of it, sure.
2/3 of it, at least.
It's kind of nice with this, though. I can clean it up here, and it's going to leave a little sediment and dinge on that apron underneath it. I might not even need to do anything with it. I might be able to just add some blood drips to it to really sell it. And this might just be like a nice dirty cloak, dirty apron. All right, wick some of that out of there.
But no, I'd like to play a game on that Titans terrain.
Yeah, we will. We will indeed.
A little more of a...
We definitely, like, what I'd like to do, so we do a lot of, like we talked about, GW layouts and stuff. And so what I don't want to do is use the terrain in a bad context, because it's very good terrain. It's just not universal terrain. And so if we were to just kind of play the terrain and try and make it resemble, you know, the GW layouts, I don't think it would show very well for the terrain.
No.
Right, so what I'd like everybody to do is like put their eyes on the terrain, what it looks like set up. I'll tell you, it definitely will play a bit better for infantry than big monsters and vehicles, right? And so as long as people build an army with an idea of what that terrain experience is going to be like, I think it'll play very well. They were kind enough to send us that terrain, so I'm excited to use it regardless. But again, just finding the right time. We've got quite a few things in flux. We've got these big plans of projects that we want to roll out or changes to the way that we're doing our current existing projects. And so, like, you know, all in good time. All in good time. Definitely excited about that tournament idea. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And if we do 8-man brackets, that covers everybody who plays on stream that are local. We'd have to push to 12 to include everybody, right? But that gets all the local guys on it. It would likely be a situation where it's 7 to 8 rounds is likely, with the potential of a 9th round if the person in first place takes their first loss in the finals, because it's a double elimination. So that finals game could potentially have to play twice. So that would be like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday for that event. We would set up and stream 3 games a day for it. We'd let chat pick the first game. And then after that, we would just stream whatever that top table was. And what I think we would likely do is go through all of our winners bracket up to the point to get to our semifinals, then go through the losers bracket to get them to the point of those semifinals as well. But yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it would likely be between 7 and 9 games in total on the weekend. We'd stream 1 game every round, and then we'd have a correspondent out there that'll tell you, like, hey, on table 1, this is who is playing, this is the matchup, this is what it looks like after turn 1, you know, and kind of keep everybody in the loop for what all of the games look like because it's 4 tables.
Right.
So the one in the studio, the 3 immediately outside of the studio. You know, we could do little interviews with the people like mid-game or at the end of the game. How did their games go? And then we're just going to do it as, see like Board Games Live, for example, day 1, he just has the stream running all day. We would do like a stream game for each game, right? And then kind of reset in between each game.
For each round. Right. Stream game for each game.
But it sounds like a lot of fun, dude. It sounds like a lot of fun.
If we did a stream game for every game that was played, we'd basically have it be just, that would take a while.
It would basically be our 2025 calendar if
Yeah.
we were to do that. Because we were working it out last night. We were looking at like, well, what if we were to do these as pre-recorded games in the style of Glacial Geek? But even then, like the post-production on that, there's just so much work that'd have to go in to get us there.
Yeah. By the time we got there, the meta's changed. The rules we're using might not be accurate.
Yeah, there's new data slate.
Yeah, we filmed this 6 months ago.
All right. So that's almost there. It's almost dried down. And then we can add in these other little pops of detail, put the dry brush on here with the silver, you know, get that rust kind of finished out. And I think it'll be good enough for table ready for tomorrow.
Oh, 100%.
You know, I'll probably put another hour into it in total over the course of the week, which is adding the extra little details to get it where I want it to be. But, you know, again, not bad for kind of single session. I mean, when I'm done with those couple of steps I need to do, not bad for a single session. Okay, looks like I can do this while we wait. Grab some of this white. This is definitely one of the best whites in the game here. This is White Star by Two Thin Coats here.
I'm also a fan of their Trooper White.
Yeah, if you want a warm white,
Yeah.
Trooper White's very nice. All right, now what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna just come in,
Go up.
add some little highlights and stuff, some little scratchy highlights to the apron. We'll need to get in there and paint the handle of that saw. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting match tomorrow, though, dude.
I think it'll be fun.
Oh, and dude, of course it's gonna be fun. There's not a doubt in my mind. And I think it'll be a good game too. Like I don't think it'll be a blowout, no matter how you slice it. But I think that both of us are gonna have some fairly difficult decisions to make at a couple of points.
I mean, I could just accidentally dark pack your battle wagons off the table.
Good. Could very well happen.
Be like,
Will
did
it?
you just roll
Probably
4
not.
6s with those las cannons and hit 8 times? Guess we're gonna be losing a battle wagon. No,
Yeah.
I don't roll that good. We both know that. That's a joke.
Oh, I mean, you roll fine. Your charges just suck. I mean, I hope you do something with those las cannons, because all those 5 charges you're going to fail tomorrow. That's what's going to hurt you.
100%.
All right, the other thing we're going to take this white and do is clean up this cloth, and we're not going to fully paint it white. We're just going to do a quick side brush over on it, where it's kind of a mixture between a dry brush and an edge highlight. Much whiter surface we're using. But we just want to get this
white on here, so it will accept the pigment of the armbands. Which we're gonna do in that same iandin as the Gretchen. Something to accomplish something like this. Like those armbands there. You know, I think I saw what might be one of the better Shyamalan movies the other night, and he was a producer of it, not a director of it. It was called Caddo Lake.
Never heard of it.
Pretty interesting, dude. Like, I don't know how to describe it without like giving something away to it. You know, because that's how like a lot of those in that kind of realm work, because like if you know the one little thing about it, it's like all of a sudden the whole purpose in watching it is spoiled. So I wouldn't know how to tell you about it to like kind of prime you for it. But I do know I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I'm not a Shyamalan fan.
I enjoyed them a little bit early on. Like, what was the first movie? The I See
Signs?
Ghost movie?
Oh, yeah. The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, Sixth Sense, I See Dead People. You know, what a twist, right? He was dead the whole time. That was actually, I like that movie a lot. The other one, was it The Woods? The one where they're living...
Oh, I hated that movie, dude.
I liked that movie so much until the end.
100%, 100%. I'm with you 100%.
I'm like, I hated
the movie was
twist.
incredible.
Yeah.
Until the big reveal.
Yeah.
And then for me, the big reveal ruined the entire movie. It wasn't even like, well, it was cool up until. It was like, well, because of the end, I now have to say your entire movie is garbage.
But like leading up to it, really good movie.
I agree.
What was it? The lady in the lake or pool?
The Lady in the Water, couldn't watch it. Couldn't finish it.
It was rough. I'll be honest.
The one dude with the one really big arm.
I think that was played by John Leguizamo too, right?
No.
It wasn't? I thought it was.
I think he was in the film. Yeah, like Leguizamo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was in the film, but not the dude with the big right arm.
Right. Big right arm and big right leg. Yeah, he only worked out like one half of his body because he was a scientist. That's what he said or something. He was experimenting.
Wanted to see if he could swim real fast in a circle. Yeah, that one I couldn't get through.
Yeah, I finished it. It was really weird. Like birds came and took her off or whatever at the end of it. But yeah, no, that was like. After that, I was like, I guess I'm not going to watch any more of his movies.
I still watch all of them. There's one just came out called Trap. Joshua Hartnett, serial killer, who the feds have like lured him to some sort of big concert where he's there with his daughter.
Oh, yeah, because he's like a serial kidnapper, murderer guy. Yeah,
And they don't know who he is, but they're there to trap him.
Yeah.
And that was actually pretty good, thinking about it. It actually was pretty good.
Oh, well, when this is over, you'll have to spoil it for me.
It didn't have a big twist on it.
There was no big twist?
No, it wasn't really a big twist. It was just like, will he get away with it sort of thing, is
Right.
like through the nature of the line of questioning through it.
Man, GW is really proud of their Kill Team boxes. Have you seen the price tags on these things now?
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, that's just all of their stuff, man. That's just all their stuff, dude. Like,
Charging like $80 for this thing now, man.
and I can't speak for everybody, But I would complain a lot more or a lot less about the cost of their plastic if all of their extra game rule stuff wasn't layered on top of it. Like, you give me the rules and I just have to buy your plastic to play the game. You know, I'm probably going to buy your plastic and not 3D print and stuff. Obviously, I don't think that's the same for everybody. I think everybody's going to, you know, make their own decision on that for sure. But yeah, it does get harder and harder. It's like, all right, well, here's a new book, $60.
It isn't. This box is an extra $15 for this. Just this.
Is it like an upgrade sprue or something?
Yeah, just this. Because like it's a standard Legionary box, which I want to say is like $60 now, but this one, the Nemesis Claw, is like $75.
And it's just got like Night Lords jump packs and such.
No jump packs. Heads, some shoulder pads.
I mean, that's some pretty cool stuff on there, though, dude.
Yeah.
For sure.
No doubt. A unique icon that I guess you slap a dead body on, it looks like. Like some cool stuff for sure. The weird rib cage chain sword thing, like this. That is the weirdest looking sword I ever seen. Oh, it's got a bunch of heads. 1, 2, 3. It's got 15 heads. Got some lightning claws. Oh, cool cloak. I mean, still. Heavy melee weapon, aka an eviscerator chain glaive thing. It's definitely got some cool parts. I may have to buy one, I guess.
You think that there's going to be any kind of army rules for Night Lords at any point?
No.
Not a popular enough faction, or what?
Not that I don't think it's not popular in some fashion. We already have them. It's called the Dread Talent.
I see.
Yeah. Are they going to release a unique unit that could be used by everyone Chaos that might be Night Lord themed? Well, that's this, and probably not. For in terms of like rules, yeah. So it's weird, and like, it has me worried on and off, right? So like the original CSM kill team, right, when they introduced a few of the extra upgrade sprues in it, that's why they gave us access to like a heavy weapon in the unit. Well, that thing is like temporarily discontinued right now.
So you're worried they're going to produce another kit and change what's in the unit? Change what's in the composition?
Well, no, because so that's the kill team specific one. In the regular Legionaries kit, which was sold side by side with it, the regular Legionaries kit only comes with like a missile launcher or an autocannon as its heavy weapon option, and not specifically a las cannon or a chain cannon. And like I've built all mine with chain cannons.
Right.
Yeah, like one day that's not going to be a legal loadout. That's my fear because they've
Done it before.
Yeah, I have a bunch of new Terminators that I bought a bunch of when they first came out with the new sculpt. You were saying? Oh, and I made them with loadouts that were legal at the time. They no longer are, so I had to buy several new boxes. But no, I don't think we're going to get anything special rules-wise for this. This is just, extra flavor to be added onto something. Wasn't Dan trying to get this?
Yeah, Dan got himself a copy. And then, of course, that's Julian's.
Oh. Why did Dan want it?
I don't know.
This thing got revealed so long ago, I almost forgot about it.
Yeah, it was LVO, wasn't it?
Close to LVO, either right before, during, or after.
It would have either been during or right before because Julian and Cryface wouldn't shut up about it at LVO.
Must have been during LVO, yeah. Like, this thing was teased to us like 10 months ago almost. About 9 months, I guess, right?
Well, if it was LVO,
Yeah.
yeah, 10 months.
Yeah. Oh, mid-January, right? So, like, but yeah, same difference. 9 to 10 months. I had completely forgotten about it.
Yeah, it was one of those things that I thought just kind of came and went.
Yeah.
You know, because I wasn't tracking it for my own personal.
Yeah, you're right. I kind of at one point thought, like, did it already come out and I not notice? It's been so long.
Yeah, that's just what I assumed.
But that was also the same LVO where they were like, hey, Kroot, and I just was unimpressed.
I mean, to be fair, they've been a little disappointing on a lot of their reveals lately.
Yeah, I wonder what's up with that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like we talked about. You know, we love the game. Doesn't mean we're not going to bitch about it. We've got things that are
Bitch about it because we love it.
There are things that are well worthy of bitching about. So, who are we to deny it?
Yeah, but you're right. A lot of their stuff has been fairly lackluster in terms of reveals.
All right, Eric. We're not going to do the fluorescent tonight because I don't really want to rush it
No, you're
personally. I've got a couple of things that I know that I can get done quickly here, but I want to wrap this up here pretty shortly.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and just muscle into the things that we know that are going to happen.
Should I pop these batteries back in here?
Yeah, we can go ahead and get those back on the charger.
The charger?
The charger. This rust has done some pretty cool things in some of these places because of the way we loosened it up. I'll see if I can get it on camera here in a moment to show it off. But yeah, still plenty of work to do this week to get this where I want it to be. You see how faint it is in some of those cracks, nice and subtle. Mm-hmm. Really pale up under there. That's pretty cool. Well, let's just go with the trash brush. Trash brushes, trash brushes.
So you finally got a strip to protect the cords on the floor over here? Mm-hmm. Tired of tripping on them?
No, we're going to be installing those cameras here soon.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that I dealt with that trip hazard because that trip hazard is about to have a fair amount of money, at stake.
Attached to it?
Mm-hmm. And we're not killing it on YouTube so much that we can just afford to replace it if something were to happen to it. So, just being a little proactive. Not to say that that's going to be the thing that helps us dodge an emergency stupid, because, well, I only have one speed. But yeah, if we could make that stupid much harder to accomplish, better. Just quick and sloppy, dry brush, over top of this, silver, over top of the brown. Over top of the rust. Got to figure out what I'll do with those hoses. We'll do that next time. We'll also do the blood next time. And I say next time, but we're going to finish it up likely on Monday. But that is more than battle ready for a game, isn't it?
That orc looks really proud of something.
He's like, look at my new hand. It's got all the choppy bits.
Cut things, slice things, poke things, pinch things.
There you have it. So, that is another one in the books for us here this evening, wrapping up a saucy, saucy Orktober. We, of course, thank you guys for sharing this time with us throughout the course of this month. We want to, of course, bid you guys adieu on Saturdays, as that will be, of course, our new game stream day. So we're going to be replacing Mondays with Saturdays. For those of you guys that were not a part of the initial stream at the onset this evening, we made that announcement. Starting next Saturday, we're going to be in here in the studio with a battle report. We got Julian and Eric fighting it out next week, which does mean that our upcoming schedule for art is yet to be fully determined. We will be painting in here Thursday. That day is staying intact for now. But yeah, definitely be on the lookout for the announcement. That is our daytime stream that is going to be launching sometime in the next week or two, and that'll be the one that replaces this Saturday night's stream. Definitely appreciate everybody hanging out with us. You know, we had a nice time in chat. Hopefully you guys did as well. Big shout out, of course, again to our sponsors of the video, Transatlantis Games, Artis Opus, Game Envy, Spray Gunner, and of course, the Gob Squad. Big shout out to you guys. The Gob Squad, of course, our membership community. You guys have shown an immense amount of support, and well, we just literally can't say thank you enough. Every new video is an opportunity for us to say it 8 more times. So for tonight's 8th time, thank you guys so much for all of the support via the Gob Squad. Hope to see you on the battle report tomorrow night as me and Eric fight to the death of Gray Plastic Men, Orcs versus Chaos Space Marines. Your guy here is going to need some support.
Probably.
It's a pretty scary orc list that he's going to be on
I brought
the
a bunch
table
of
against.
bullets, but he brought a bunch of bodies.
So we're going to see bullets versus bodies tomorrow night here on Cave Reps. Hope to see you there. Until next time, keep your pants on.